Chapter 301. The Past of the Old Human Emperor. Human Emperor, it has been a long time. What brought you here? An elderly woman slowly gets up from her rocking chair with a chuckle and bows to Zhongli. Zhongli quickly supports her. Elder Yu, no need for such formalities. I am just here to reminisce. 500 years ago, Zhongli called upon the old human emperor to deal with the South Zhao Dragon tribe. Back then, the clan leader of the Jin tribe was this elderly woman known as Yu. Zhongli recalls the captivating charm of Elder Yu. Her elegance and charm attracted the hearts of many men, outshining even the beauty of the southern seas. Unexpectedly, after 500 years, Elder Yu has aged considerably. Zhongli notices this and realizes Elder Yu, being at the divinity transformation stage, should still have a few hundred years of lifespan remaining. She should not look as she does, but rather like a middle-aged beauty or a stunning maiden. A cultivator's appearance is related to their mentality. It seems that Elder Yu must have suffered a significant setback. Who would have thought that the youngster who used to always visit the old human emperor has now become the guardian of 9 provinces? Time truly waits for no one. Elder Yu comments nostalgically upon seeing Zhongli. Zhongli reacts similarly. I never expected that the solitary old human emperor would have descendants. Elder Yu stiffens at his words. Zhongli continues, Elder Yu, if I am not mistaken, the current clan leader is the old human emperor's daughter, and Rain Little Meng is his granddaughter. Recalling Zhongli's cultivation level, Elder Yu relaxes and nods resignedly. Indeed, I can't hide the truth from you. Yes, I had a daughter with Lu, the previous human emperor. The surname of the last human emperor was Lu. I see. Zhongli is unsurprised by this revelation. His divine sense had detected more than just the Jin tribe's blood flowing within Rain Little Meng and her mother, they also have the blood of the old human emperor. They are his descendants. Zhongli had thought he was mistaken initially, as the old human emperor was known to be indifferent to women and rarely seen with a smile, making it hard to believe he had any romantic relationships. Apparently, Zhongli had only seen one side of the old human emperor. 500 years ago, I was deeply infatuated with Lu, the human emperor. Especially when he aided our Jin tribe in overcoming obstacles and securing our position, ensuring that we were no longer bullied. I fell deeply in love with him, Yu confesses. Lu returned my feelings and one night, afterwards, he proposed marriage to me, but I refused him. Why? Zhongli asked, puzzled. There was no rule stating that the human emperor couldn't marry. With a bitter smile, the elderly woman responds, because Lu cared too much about love, or perhaps he cared too much about me. He once whispered into my ear, telling me he no longer wanted to fight the heavenly demons and wished to spend the rest of his life with me. If he had stayed by my side, who would protect the 9 provinces? Back then, you were merely a child at the nascent soul stage, not the invincible figure at the Mahayana realm that you are today. Zhongli remains silent. In history, a human emperor once failed to give his all in battle because he couldn't let go of his wife and children. During that battle, instead of him, it was 2 Transcendence Tribulation stage cultivators who fought tooth and nail, exhausting their vitality to eliminate the heavenly demon. No one noticed it back then, thinking the human emperor had already done his best. Only he himself knew that his cowardice and hesitation had resulted in the death of his 2 allies. If he had fought with all he had, he and his 2 comrades might have killed the heavenly demon at the cost of serious injuries. Haunted by regret for the rest of his life, the human emperor eventually allowed 9 provinces' earth veins to select a new human emperor and ended his own life. This story is hardly known. Zhongli only learned about it after he became the human emperor. It was Commander Lu who told him. I told Lu back then that I spent the night with him as a way of repaying his kindness for disciplining the South Zhao Dragon tribe. I had no feelings for him, and he mustn't mistake it otherwise. After that, he never visited the Jin tribe again, and he never learned that he had descendants. Did Commander Lu know about all of this? He knew. He regularly provided us with resources and took care of us. He even knew that Lu had descendants. However, I begged him not to reveal this to anyone, including Lu. Later, Lu told me that he informed Lu of this on his deathbed. Lu died with a smile. Lu, the old human emperor, had sustained secret injuries from fighting with the heavenly demon and died suddenly over 300 years ago due to the recurrence of his injuries. Zhongli wasn't able to see him one last time. It was Commander Lu who ushered him on his last journey. Zhongli supposes that the stunning beauty who had once surpassed the southern seas, Elder Yu, had aged so much due to heartbreak upon learning of the old human emperor's death. Does your daughter know about her origins? The elderly woman shakes her head gently. I only told her that her father was a great hero, an unparalleled cultivator. There is no man in the entire 9 provinces who can surpass him. She may have guessed it by now. Zhongli feels that Elder Yu Ju might not be able to distinguish whether her feelings towards the old human emperor are of admiration or love. After all, even now she continues to refer to him formally as Lu, the human emperor, rather than using a more affectionate term. All these are matters of the previous generation, there's no need to dwell on them. You don't need to worry about going through what I did, with someone falling in love with you but not confessing because they fear it may affect their fighting spirit. With your abilities, you can effortlessly protect the 9 provinces, she reassures. I have taken note of your advice. Zhongli bows to the old woman. He didn't expect to have such a profound connection with the Jin tribe. If he hadn't called for the old human emperor back then, perhaps none of this would have transpired. One can never predict life, everything is a matter of fate. After Zhongli leaves, the old woman reclines on her rocking chair, softly swaying back and forth with a faint smile on her lips as if reminiscing about something. Human Emperor. The current clan leader of the Jin tribe approaches Zhongli. What can I assist you with? Zhongli responds politely. He had always refused to accept formalities from the clan leader, guessing that she was the only daughter of the old human emperor. I have an inconvenient request, hoping that you can assist. Feel free to speak. I will definitely help if I am able. It is such that Elder Immortal Chong Kun borrowed a book from our tribe 2,000 years ago. It was left behind by an ancestor who ascended to the immortal realm. Although the Jin tribe's talent for cultivation isn't particularly high, there were exceptions in history who broke through their bloodline's shackles and ascended to the immortal realm. Elder Immortal Chong Kun has not returned it since. Perhaps he has forgotten about this matter. I would like to request that you remind Elder Immortal Chong Kun about this, the Jin tribe clan leader quickly continues. Of course, if he hasn't finished reading it, he can continue. Sure, I will talk to Elder Immortal Chong Kun. Zhongli readily agrees, as it was merely a small matter. Zhongli visits Qi Sha Daozi again, offering some words of encouragement, especially reminding him to treat Rain Little Meng well. Qi Sha Daozi is puzzled but nods in agreement. What Zhongli reminds him of is exactly what Qi Sha Daozi intended to do. Zhongli also gives Rain Little Meng some pointers, indicating some deficiencies in her cultivation practice and advising her not to focus only on bloodline cultivation. Demon cultivators have more than one path to follow. Rain Little Meng feels invigorated upon receiving guidance from the human emperor. She believes that Zhongli's advice is due to his respect for Qi Sha Daozi. Chapter 302, The Immortal Elder with Core Memory. The clan leader of the Merfolk tribe's request was Zhongli's top priority. After leaving the South Sea, he flew straight to Dao sect. Immortal Elder. Immortal Elder Zhong Kun was completely engrossed in his book. He cherished reading and collecting books, his collection surpassing any other in JoJo Sutra Collection Pavilion. His collection ranged from obscure immortal realm techniques to common marketplace love stories. He had a bit of everything. What is it this time? Have you come to ask me a question again? Immortal Elder Zhong Kun put down his book, assuming that Zhongli was there to seek his advice. After all, Zhongli never specifically came to visit him, the solitary old man, just for conversation. Every visit meant he had some request. Zhongli noticed that the story Immortal Elder was engrossed in was one of an amorous nature, written by a novelist renowned for such themes. Actually, the Merfolk tribe mentioned that, 2,000 years ago, you borrowed a set of immortal manuscripts from their ancestors. After pondering for a moment, Immortal Elder Zhong Kun had a sudden realization. Ah, indeed there was such a matter. Let me find it. He fumbled around in his storage ring. He lived in the ceiling self cave that certainly didn't provide much space for storing books. The only ones he kept in the cave were either ones he enjoyed reading or ones he hadn't read yet. The rest were stored in his storage ring. After a long search, he looked slightly embarrassed as he said, "It seems like I misplaced it." Elder, what am I supposed to explain to the Merfolk tribe now? Don't worry, I remember the contents. Immortal Elder Zhong Kun tapped his forehead. Their ancestors were immortals, and I am also an immortal, so what I write can also be considered as immortal manuscripts. Immortal Elder Zhong Kun began writing quickly, recreating the manuscript based on his memory. These should be the contents. Zhongli casually flipped through the book. Most of the contents included the observations and insights of the Merfolk tribe regarding spiritual cultivation. But the content seemed profound, understandable only by Merfolk tribesfolk who had made it to the Transcendence Tribulation stage. Additionally, it contained some understandings of the immortal realm. For example, the cruelty of the immortal realm, the prevalence of survival of the fittest, and the indifferent nature of immortals. I admit that I am at fault here. Immortal Elder Zhang Kun looked regretful. His own work could not compare with the ancestors' original. From the Dao sect treasury, he pulled out some rare materials, unique pills, spiritual formation arrays, and other valuable items. Immortal Elder handed these items to Zhang Li, instructing him to deliver them, along with the book, to the merfolk tribe. Consider these as my compensation to them. Zhang Li nodded, flying back to the merfolk tribe. On his journey back, Zhang Li suddenly had a thought. Since the manuscript wasn't damaged but lost, could he perhaps purchase it from the system store? As soon as he thought of it, Zhang Li indeed found the merfolk tribe ancestors' manuscripts in the system store. Without thinking about how many source points he was spending, he bought them outright. Immortal Elder's memory really is impeccable. It's a word-for-word match, Zhang Li praised. It looks like Immortal Elder didn't write this. Zhang Li found evidence of Immortal Elder's senility. Let me see what it says. It mentions that the merfolk tribe's ancestors encountered the Dao ancestor of the immortal realm. They discovered that the immortal realm Dao ancestor and the Dao sect Dao ancestor appeared to be identical, and the immortal realm Dao taught the technique of slaying the 3 corpses. Only by slaying one's 3 corpses and integrating them back into oneself can one be regarded as a successful cultivator. Zhang Li muttered to himself, in that case, could it be true that Dao sect's Dao ancestor indeed had a connection with the immortal realm Dao ancestor, possibly being one of the 3 corpses? Having found the real manuscript, Zhang Li returned to Dao sect, teasing Immortal Elder. Immortal Elder, have a look. I found the original book. Hey, how did this book come into your hands? Immortal Elder expressed surprise. How is my memory? Did I miss any details? You missed the part about the merfolk tribe ancestors' encounter with the immortal realm Dao ancestor. See, this memory of mine is not reliable, given my old age. Immortal Elder Zhang Kun smacked his forehead regretfully. As soon as Zhang Li reminded him, he recalled everything that was mentioned on that page. The rare materials, give them to the merfolk tribe. Consider it as the fee I owe for borrowing their book for 2,000 years. Zhang Li queried curiously, what exactly is the connection between the Dao sect Dao ancestor and the immortal realm Dao ancestor? Could they be one of the 3 corpses? I have no idea. My teacher always speaks mysteriously, often saying, you would know when the time comes, yet, Immortal Elder paused, shaking his head before he could finish his statement. Zhang Li understood what he meant. First Dao ancestor had died, and unless he found a way to the immortal realm, he would not know their relationship. It might not necessarily be the 3 corpses. For all we know, my master could be a reincarnation of the immortal realm's Dao ancestor who descended to lower realm for a trial. Zhang Li didn't dwell on it too much. All answers would be revealed once he reached the immortal realm. It was a waste of time trying to guess. While Dao sect Dao ancestor always spoke in riddles, it was amusing how Immortal Elder, his student, was an open book. Zhang Li handed over the original book and the rare materials to the clan leader of the merfolk tribe. There is too much here, the clan leader of the merfolk tribe was reluctant to accept. To them, their ancestors' manuscript merely held sentimental value and couldn't be used for cultivation. However, these rare materials could potentially increase the merfolk tribe's strength several folds, even helping her reach the body integration realm purely by force feeding. Just take it, Zhang Li laughed, gently pushing toward her. Obviously, he didn't mention that not only was it Immortal Elder's borrowing fee but there were also some contributions from him. They are gifts from Immortal Elder to make amends. Rest assured, no one will dare to take them from you. If anyone tries, notify me, and I will help you deal with these impudent creatures. Unable to decline Zhang Li's insistence, the clan leader had no choice but to accept the gifts. When was the manuscript written by your ancestors? 20,000 years ago, why do you ask? Nothing, it was just a casual inquiry. With that, the matter of the merfolk was finally concluded. Would you like to claim your reward? Claim 1 copy of the recipe for true dragon blood bath medicine. A recipe appeared in Zhang Li's hand. A small pot of dragon blood wouldn't be enough to immerse the whole body, and water would need to be added. The recipe detailed accurately what materials should be added into the diluted dragon blood to maximize its efficacy. Transform Dragon Hand. This was a book that explained the various combat techniques to use once a cultivator's hand had undergone dragon transformation. Only an extremely small number of cultivators who immersed in dragon blood could undergo dragon transformation. So, according to the system timeline, after I helped the merfolk tribe emerge victorious, they would give me this pot of dragon blood as a token of their gratitude. After seeing that the 2 rewards from the system were associated with dragon blood, Zhang Li made an educated guess. However, he didn't follow the system's plan of competing fairly against the South Jiao Dragon tribe 500 years ago. One set of invisibility clothes. Zhang Li was handed a set, presumably the invisibility clothes that the system had mentioned. The clothes also came with an instruction manual. Once you put on these clothes, your body can completely disappear from view, undetectable even to those at the body integration realm. Seems pretty powerful. For those at the nascent soul stage, such invisibility clothes could be considered a priceless treasure. Out of curiosity, Zhang Li changed into the invisibility clothes. Zhang Li muttered out an incantation, contrastingly shouting, "Invisibility." The invisibility clothes slowly became transparent, disappearing completely. Even if a body integration realm cultivator used their divine sense to investigate, they wouldn't be able to detect any trace of the clothes. Zhang Li, completely naked, felt the sea breeze whip around him, resembling an exhibitionist. The darned invisibility clothes could only make clothes invisible. Damn you system. Chapter 303, Bai Hongtu's Grand Plan. Inside the pitch-black space, luminescent lights were twinkling, like the brightest stars in the night sky. The glimmers gradually coalesced into figures one after another. Their silhouettes were majestic, sturdy as pillars upholding the heavens, indomitable. These figures were male and female, old and young, all with different demeanors. Some were concentrating on their cultivation, some were looking around aimlessly, some were pondering on the mysteries of the Sword Tao, and some were cuddling up to others. If low-level cultivators were to witness this scene, they would certainly be terrified by the imposing aura of these figures, their legs shaking with fear. All these figures were notably famous cultivators in Kyushu, the helmsmen of great powers, such as the sect masters of the 6 sects, the emperors of the 9 dynasties and so on. When these figures gathered together, it was definitely to discuss major events that would determine the fate of Kyushu. I guess all of us know the reason for sending out the remote communication talismans and gathering everyone here today. A figure opened his eyes, his gaze burning brightly. It was none other than Bai Hongtu, the genius leader of Dao sect who has reached the end of the Transcendence Tribulation stage. Upon Zhang Li's suggestion, Bai Hongtu had toiled hard to manufacture the remote communication talismans and distributed them to the leaders of all the influential forces. Emperor Dreamriver, Emperor Wei, please mind your professionalism. Don't bring your consorts to serious discussions. Bai Hongtu couldn't help but remind. The 2 figures cuddling others were Emperor Dreamriver and Emperor Wei. Oh, Emperor Dreamriver made amends and left his consorts, sleeping chamber. Emperor Wei also made amends and left the Union sect. Didn't you call us here to discuss the major breakthrough of Yin-Yang Heavenly Seal Ancestor in spiritual treasure cultivation? Bai Hongtu nodded. Indeed, the Yin-Yang Heavenly Seal Ancestor, putting aside food and sleep and utilizing the data and ideas collected from all over Kyushu, has finally managed to advance the spiritual treasure cultivation method to the next level. Yu Yin opened her mouth to ask why a spiritual treasure would need to eat or sleep. But considering Bai Hongtu's seriousness, she didn't voice her query. With the newly developed cultivation method, a spiritual treasure could be upgraded by 1 rank, for example, from a lower-grade spiritual artifact to a mid-grade spiritual artifact, or from a mid-grade magical artifact to a high-grade magical artifact. Can it transcend levels? Bai Hongtu provided a positive answer, yes. A high-grade spiritual artifact could cultivate itself to become a lower-grade magical artifact. All of the figures drew a sharp breath simultaneously. This was truly an incredible achievement, a qualitative breakthrough. By learning the new spiritual treasure cultivation method, the overall strength of Kyushu would be greatly improved. Dao sect will publicize the specific cultivation method to all of Kyushu in a few days. Bai Hongtu paused, then continued, but that's just an apparent reason. I have called you all here for a more important purpose. The figures held their breath. If even the breakthrough in the spiritual treasure cultivation method was considered a superficial reason, what could be the real thing that Bai Hongtu was planning? Thump, thump, thump. For a moment, the only sounds in the dark space were the heavy breathing and heartbeats. I want you all to join me in defeating Zhang Li. Let's disperse, I still have to attend to my consorts. Emperor Dreamriver turned around, ready to leave. Don't bother me with such trivial matters when I'm practicing my sword. The Sword Lord continued to delve into the mysteries of the Sword Tao with his head bowed down. White Master, all humans die once they are killed, and cultivators are also humans. One only lives once, so treasure it, Master Wu Ji solemnly reminded. White Sect Master, feel free to speak your mind. I promise I won't tell Zhang Li. Saintess Pure Heart held onto a memory stone, ready to record what would happen next. Everyone, please allow me to explain. Bai Hongtu quickly said. While Zhongli is indeed terrifying, that shouldn't be a reason for us to shy away from battle. We, cultivators, should become more courageous with each battle, break through our limits, surpass ourselves. How else can we tread the path of immortality swiftly, correctly, and directly? But we're afraid of challenging Zhong, the human emperor. We might stumble on the path to immortality. Just cut to the chase. Yu Yin grimaced. She knew she couldn't trust Bai Hongtu when he was so rhetorical. I can't win alone, so I want to pull everyone up together. To die, Gigi interjected. Bai Hongtu glared. To defeat Zhongli. Actually, Zhongli is not invincible. In my memory, he was chased down to a realm drop by others during the Foundation establishment stage, nearly lost his life to poison in the Golden Core stage, barely survived the beast attack in the nascent soul stage, missed by a hair in his transcendent challenge during the divinity transformation stage. Can you talk about what's happened in the last 300 years? Li couldn't help but interrupt. In the Mahayana realm, he was well anyway. Zhongli is not invincible. As long as we find the right method, we can defeat him. Bai Hongtu concluded decisively. I already have a general plan. Zhongli would never guess that I would get inspiration from the ancient world. What inspiration? Penglai Fairy Island's master Mo Ruyu was curious. Spirit plants formation. Bai Hongtu revealed his plan. In the 2 years that Zhongli has been away to the ancient world continent, I have traveled across the mountains and rivers, measured the length and breadth of the Kyushu continent, even the 4sea on the far side with my feet. The larger the formation, the harder it is to arrange. The protective formation of Kyushu is a case in point. But creating something from nothing and making a few alterations on the basis of the spirit plants are entirely different. According to my calculations, I can say for sure that it is possible to set up a large formation that integrates all the power of Kyushu. And the power of this formation is beyond my calculations. Do you understand what this means? If we can set up this formation and concentrate all the power of Kyushu on me, we may have a slim chance of defeating Zhongli. Excited by his own idea, Bai Hongtu waved his arms crazily, admiring his intelligent strategy. Only an overwhelming force can combat someone who surpasses the standards. It's not to say that everyone wasn't tempted. Bai Hongtu's method is highly feasible, and his understanding of formation methods is unparalleled in Kyushu. If he says that it is possible, then it is. Imagine what an exhilarating moment it would be if we could really defeat Zhongli. At that time, we could go out and brag that we have defeated Zhongli. The position of some spirit plants needs to be changed, and I would need your help. This is a small matter. My martial emperor dynasty will handle this. I also agree with Sect Master Bai's plan. Emperor Yang made his stand. My great sway. 4-Sea Dragon Palace. Penglai Fairy Island. The Pure Land of Red Dust is also willing to participate. Saintess Pure Heart was tempted. If Zhongli failed and was affected, she could take the opportunity to enter his heart. Doable. I'll participate too. Yu Yin had long wanted to challenge Zhongli but was stopped due to the discrepancy in their martial prowess. Even if Zhongli agreed to fight her, it would merely be for practice. She hoped to see Zhongli's limit through Bai Hongtu's plan, making her goal clearer. Gradually, more and more figures raised their hands in agreement, which thrilled Bai Hongtu. Defeating Zhongli is not far away. I would like to name this operation, Assault on Zhongli. Any objections? I have a question. A figure who hadn't spoken up from the beginning, raised his hand. Speak. Bai Hongtu gave the floor readily. Can you please not pull me in the next time we discuss stuff like this? Zhongli, sitting in the corner, awkwardly asked. Chapter 304. Just to be clear, my communication talisman was taken by my kid to play with. I had nothing to do with this. My communication talisman broke after it was soaked in water. It connected on its own. I didn't say a word. I'm old, never used a communication talisman before. How do you use this? Oh, it's already connected. I am a thief. I stole treasures from the 4-Sea Dragon Palace. This is my first time using it. The 4-Sea Dragon Palace has no idea about this. Only Gigi's words were different from the others. I've seen the result with my heavy pupils. I came to watch the fun. Bai Hongtu groaned angrily. Gigi, you bloody. Everyone, relax. Bai Hongtu's idea is great. I'm not angry. Seeing that the crowd was pretending to be ignorant and retreating, Zhongli tried to comfort them. Although the 9 provinces spirit plant array couldn't defeat me, as a secret weapon to protect the 9 provinces, it still has its uses. Bai Hongtu felt there was something wrong with Zhongli's words. This matter can safeguard the 9 provinces, the imperial palace should also contribute. After the meeting, I'll assign 2 competent commanders to be in charge of this. Zhongli planned to find something for the couple Ma Zhou to do. Zhongli took Bai Hongtu's spirit plant array blueprint, clarified with those present what needs to be done, defined boundaries, explained responsibilities. The red dust pure land you live in is unique and it is inconvenient to set up formations in. You could use the entire red dust pure land as the array eye, with the immortal peach tree as the eye of the eye. Can you do that? Stared at by Zhongli, the holy maiden pure heart blushed and whispered agreement. We can. When Zhongli had arranged everything, he let everyone leave. Everyone left dejectedly, it seemed they were disappointed they didn't manage to trick Zhongli. Old Bai, you stay. Zhongli called, scaring Bai Hongtu into thinking that Zhongli wanted to fight him to the death. Do you know where the peak master of artifact refinement peak is? What are you looking for him for? I picked up some clothes on the side of the road, I think they might be his, I want to return them to him. What kind of clothes? Invisibility clothes. The name sounds pretty normal, not like him. Only the clothes can make you invisible. It must be something he refined. Is he at Artifact Refinement Peak? No, he is not there, he's out on a business trip. Where did he go? I will find him. Bai Hongtu made a strange face. Union sect, you really sure you want to go? Zhongli hesitated for a moment, believing himself to be a man who keeps his word. You come with me. All right. Zhongli and Bai Hongtu met on the way to Union sect, and they casually chatted. Do you know about the three corpses cultivation method? Bai Hongtu curiously looked at Zhongli, not sure why he asked the question. I have a general idea, but I don't know how to cultivate it. If you want to learn how to wield the three corpses beheading method, I won't be able to teach you. I fear even our ancient teacher wouldn't be able to. First, tell me what you know. Zhongli asked casually. The three corpses represents the obsessions within the human body. To be specific, they are the good corpse, evil corpse, and self corpse. When cultivating the three corpses beheading method, one should separate the three corpses, then subdue them with great willpower, mana, and mental state, uniting them together into one. That's when the method is considered complete. Bai Hongtu mysteriously said, it is said that slaughtering the three corpses is a crucial step in becoming a Taoist. Even in the immortal realm, very few people are able to reach this step. What we can confirm is that the Tao sect in the immortal realm is definitely cultivating the three corpses slaughtering method, but we do not know how far they have gone. Could it be possible that you suspect our Tao sect was created as a result of the three corpses slaughtering method? Bai Hongtu naturally thought of this. There is a possibility. Zhongli didn't deny it. Bai Hongtu nodded, that's what I think too, but our ancient teacher was very careful. He thought that our Tao sect might not necessarily have this kind of relationship with the immortal realm Tao sect. The immortal realm Tao sect has vast divine skills, it's possible they used another method to create our Tao sect. That also makes sense, the immortal realm Tao sect is the most ancient existence. Rumor has it that they already existed at the beginning of the world. Only natural for them to have methods that we are unaware of. Zhongli didn't think the ancient teacher was wrong in being cautious. Just not sure if the immortal realm Tao sect has successfully become a Taoist. Bai Hongtu looked at Zhongli strangely, if the Tao sect Tao memorial in the immortal realm and our Tao sect Tao memorial have the three corpse relationship, then wouldn't it be impossible for him to become a Taoist when our Tao memorial Tao sect has disappeared? True, Zhongli nodded. The two didn't discuss this for too long, they had arrived at the Union sect. The Union sect is indeed the famous sect in the 9 provinces, compared to the Red Dust Pure Land which is unreachable to the common people, the Union sect is more familiar to people. The brightly dressed, beautiful women swayed at the sect entrance. The makeup smell was not strong enough to be repulsive, in fact it gave people a feeling of elegant tranquility. The Union sect disciples did not wear overly revealing clothes. Some dressed in shadow-like clothing, highlighting a mysterious feel, others wore body-fitting clothes showing off their figures, and some dressed in other sects' clothing with a bewitching expression. They believe that dressing revealingly should be strategic, recklessly dressing too revealing is a lowbrow choice. Giving a sense of anticipation, mystery, and freshness would attract more men. Men are interested not in undressing, but in what they're dressing in. Union sect is a genuine orthodox sect that believes in the unity of yin and yang, complementing men and women. The union cultivation method will greatly benefit both genders. Above is the Union sect's evaluation of itself, and those who've been to the Union sect also evaluated the Union sect in this way, so it's convincing to say that Union sect is an orthodox sect. The relationship between Union sect and the imperial palace is intricately intertwined. Throughout history, many human emperors loved to dwell here and free themselves. When it came to Zhongli's term as human emperor, the relationship became inseparable. Commander Ma Zhou was a hidden elder of the Union sect. Although members of the imperial palace mustn't join other sects, the two commanders joined covertly. There's no evidence to indiscreetly dismiss them. Moreover, the two of them serve as technical guidance, they gave unilaterally and did not ask for anything in return. They consider this voluntary service and do not consider it as joining the Union sect. This was Commander Lu's official answer to Zhang Li. When Zhang Li asked for the true reason, Commander Lu's reply was, "All the human emperors in history have entrusted me with the well-being of the Union sect." Zhang Li had no choice but to pretend that he didn't know Commander Ma Zhou was a Union sect member. "We've been to the Union sect before, haven't we?" Arriving at the Union sect, Bai Hongtu recalled the past. "Indeed, back then you wanted to challenge me, and then you were thrown off by me. You knocked over a lot of buildings along the way before finally crashing into the Union sect." "Not that time, it was when a demon cultivator hid within Union sect. We went there to search for the demon cultivator." Zhang Li remembered. "Oh right, that was our second trip to the Union sect. I remember we were young then and the Union sect was notably tempting. Fortunately, my Taoist heart was firm and I held on." "Did you?" Bai Hongtu avoided his gaze. "Let's go in." Chapter 305, Freeloading. Zhang Li and Bai Hongtu had reputations to uphold. When they went to the Union sect, of course, they had to change their appearances and sneak in. The sect leader of artifact refinement peak was named Tang Ben. His artifact refining technique was considered legendary in 9 continents. Even before becoming an immortal, the Tao ancestor defied the heavens and refined the outrageous immortal artifact Yin-Yang Heaven Seal. Apart from the Tao ancestor, no one in the 9 continents' history of the body integration realm could be compared with Tang Ben's artifact refining ability. But geniuses always have their impractical sides, and Tang Ben was a good example of this. He had crafted luminous pearls that could only be used during the day, a heater that could withstand all weather conditions but could only be used by those at the nascent soul stage, a flying sword that could only fly away and not return, and a top-grade Taoist tool that needed a vat of blood for recognition. "It would be great if we could use divine sense and easily find Tang Ben," said Bai Hongtu in a low voice. Zhang Li cast Bai Hongtu a glance. Using divine sense in the Union sect would probably expose all the acts taking place in various rooms before they even found Tang Ben. "I'm an honest man." Feeling Zhang Li's gaze, Bai Hongtu emphasized how honest and pure his intentions had always been. "Gentlemen, please come in. You can call me UC." The madams of the Union sect were all charming young women, stirring up desires. The appearance of cultivators depends on their mental age. Quite a few guests who visited here wished to enjoy UC's services, but unfortunately, UC was very discerning. She appeared friendly to every cultivator, but there was an unbridgeable gap that could not be covered by mere appearances. "Bring us your best girl." Bai Hongtu started speaking out of habit and then suddenly realized they weren't there for that purpose this time. He hurriedly corrected himself. "We're here to find somebody. Everyone who comes here is looking for someone. Which lady would you prefer to summon?" UC laughed slightly. "We're here to find a man." Bai Hongtu tried to explain, but he couldn't say outright that they were looking for Tang Ben. No one who came to the Union sect used their real name. "We do have men." The Union sect did not solely cater to male cultivators, many female cultivators also enjoyed coming to the Union sect for fun. However, I wouldn't recommend same-sex practice. The mingling of yang forces cannot improve your cultivation level. If you two simply favor men, then I have nothing to say. Bai Hongtu felt there was a big misunderstanding. Zhang Li took a step forward in this crucial moment. "Actually, we're here to sell clothes." Clothes? UC thought the duo didn't look much like tailors. Besides, there weren't any clothes that one couldn't find in the Union sect. Even if it were a royal robe, they could replicate it. Of course, they didn't dare to imitate the clothes of the human emperor. "This piece of clothing is called an invisibility robe," Zhang Li unveiled. "Once worn, one can choose which parts of their body they wish to expose." Yusi's eyes lit up. "Gentlemen, please come inside for detailed discussion." They were treated as VIPs and led into the inner gate of the Union sect. According to Bai Hongtu's experience, one generally needed to spend a specific amount of spirit stones to gain the privilege to enter this place. Overall, the attractiveness and charm of the inner sect disciples of the Union sect were a notch or two above that of the outer sect, thanks to the methods of the Union sect. Zhang Li handed the invisibility robe to UC, indicating her to try it on. The invisibility robe could automatically adjust its size according to the wearer's body structure. Whether it was Zhang Li, who had a moderate figure, or Zhang Konggu, who was burly, or even UC, with her curvaceous figure, they could all wear it. As soon as UC wore it and moved her mind, the sleeve of the robe disappeared, revealing the white arm and armpit. Her beautiful eyes slightly widened, she didn't expect the robe had such a magical capability. Next, the hem of the robe disappeared, exposing the pure, rounded legs. The fabric around the waist disappeared, revealing the sexy belly and navel. Bai Hongtu felt that Tang Ben was indeed a genius. This was far more exciting than watching a girl strip. Watching the beauty gradually decreasing the robe's fabric and exposing large parts of her enticing skin was indeed an enjoyable sight. Yusi wanted to continue experimenting with the invisibility robe, to see if it could remove fabric from other parts. "How's the robe?" Zhang Li asked, interrupting Yusi's idea to keep experimenting. "Excellent." Yusi was very satisfied with the invisibility robe. This piece could greatly ignite men's desire. If all the sect members wore it, it would surely be an invincible weapon. Unfortunately, the robe is styled for men, Yusi said regretfully. She was gorgeous enough to carry off a man's robe with charm. She believed that once she wore a woman's version of the robe, it would definitely catch Zhang Li's attention. Seeing Zhang Li's calm, unfaltering demeanor made her feel a sense of defeat. "This robe is just a sample," Zhang Li explained. "If you are satisfied, we can discuss further cooperation." "So you mean we can customize the clothes?" "Of course," Zhang Li nodded, "but we can't find the maker of the robes now." "No clues. He should be somewhere inside your union sect. That's why we came here." "What's his name?" Zhang Li wouldn't disclose Tang Ben's name naturally. He is probably around 1.80 m, nearly bald, with muscular arms, and dark skin. "So, he's dark-skinned. I think I remember him." Yusi realized. "What name does he go by when he comes here?" Bai Hongtu asked. "Tang Dawei." Hearing this name, the two knew undoubtedly that it was Tang Ben. "He seems to be our regular customer. He often competes with Emperor Wei and Dream River Emperor for girls. He must be a great cultivator." Apparently, Tang Ben was quite famous in the Union sect. "So, Tang Dawei is the maker of the robe." Zhang Li nodded. "Is he here now?" "Yes," Yusi calculated the time, "he should be coming out soon." Zhang Li and Bai Hongtu didn't want to know what kind of time Yusi was calculating. "I was in a hurry when I left, and I didn't bring enough spirit stones. Can I get a credit?" A customer, Tang Dawei, wearing his clothes back on, asked cautiously. Seeing the girl who was obedient to him a moment ago suddenly changed her face, Tang Dawei knew he probably couldn't get credit. He could rely on his body integration realm cultivation to force his way out, but he wanted to be a repeat customer, so that wouldn't be wise. "Actually, I've brought a freshly refined spiritual treasure." The girl's face immediately brightened up. "Look at this, it's the blood-drinking mad dragon knife. The more blood it sucks, the sharper the blade becomes. Its sharpness has no upper limit. As long as it recognizes your blood, the knife will be yours." Tang Dawei pulled out an exquisite long knife suitable for both men and women, pleasing to the eye. Tang Dawei insisted that his visits to the Union sect were not for pleasure, but to enhance his artistic taste, so that the spiritual treasures he refined would have aesthetic appeal. The girl's eyes brightened. This was a valuable growing spiritual treasure, it was worth serving him this time. "But there is a small problem with this knife." "What is it?" "After wounding an enemy, it might recognize the enemy as its master because of the abundant blood." The girl was silent for a few seconds, then shouted, "Help, there's a man here who didn't pay me." Chapter 306. The Cooperation Between Dao Sect and Union Sect. After the young lady shouted, Tang Ben felt his life was over. Trying to escape, the Heihuan sect had masters of the body integration realm, and their understanding of body integration was unmatched. Should he reveal his identity? The fact that the head of the artifact refinement peak was visiting the Heihuan sect would definitely raise eyebrows. Using the remote communication talisman to call for help from the sect master. He couldn't bear the shame. Sell himself to compensate, he would rather seek help from the sect master. "I am just not paying, it's not freeloading." The words slipped out of Tang Ben's mouth, and he immediately wanted to slap himself. The lady looked at Tang Ben in surprise. In her years at the Heihuan sect, she had never heard such a claim before. They looked at each other, not knowing what to say for a while. Fortunately, the awkward silence between the two didn't last long. The lady named Yusi entered the room with a bright smile. "You can leave first, I can handle this." "Yes." The young lady respected Yusi greatly. After a nod of acknowledgement, she obediently left the room. "Tang Dawei, is it? We haven't seen each other in a while." Yusi's elegance was fitting of a queen inspecting her territory. She was accompanied by Zhang Li and Bai Hongtu, two of her servants. Tang Ben looked at the two unfamiliar faces, not understanding why Yusi had brought two men to see him. Could these two men be disciples of Heihuan sect? Did he need to join the Heihuan sect? No, he was a disciple of Dao sect, and he couldn't become a disciple of the Heihuan sect. But the male disciples were so attractive. I am Bai Hongtu. Bai Hongtu messaged Tang Ben. He thought Tang Ben's gaze was strange, feeling as if he was considering something impolite. And this is Zhang Li. A message from the Transcendence Tribulation stage couldn't be heard by UC, naturally. Say, sect, it's about time you guys showed up. Tang Ben almost cried out, Sect Master. Is this clothing made by you? Zhang Li handed the invisibility cloak to Tang Ben. Yes, I made it. This cloak was lost a long time ago, I didn't expect it to be picked up by someone. Zhang Li thought to himself, it was indeed this bastard that made me run naked. If you hadn't forged the Sky Desolate halberd, I would definitely teach you a lesson. How did you lose it? Bai Hongtu was more interested in this. I casually took off the cloak after it becoming invisible, and then I couldn't find it. Tang Ben scratched his head embarrassingly. The quality of the invisibility cloak was excellent. Even the divine sense of the body integration realm would not be able to detect it. Bai Hongtu suddenly remembered that his robe was also made by Tang Ben. Could his robe also be invisible? Tang Dawei, I did not know that you had the ability to refine clothes during the several centuries you've spent in the Heihuan sect, UC laughed. A few hundred years. Zhang Li felt like he was getting to know a completely different head of artifact refinement peak. Tang Ben, who is usually so serious, has actually been visiting the Heihuan sect for entertaining purpose for hundreds of years. The previous human emperors all gave him this impression. Is it that difficult to be true to yourself? Tang Ben didn't understand what UC meant. UC believes that the invisibility cloak you made, which can only hide the clothing, is very suitable for Heihuan sect. She wants to discuss a collaboration with you, Zhang Li explained to Tang Ben about UC's test of the invisibility cloak. Tang Ben felt like he had suffered a great loss. We don't need the clothes to be of this high quality. You can decrease the quality of the material appropriately. How about I pay 100 high-quality spirit stones for one piece? Considering the number of disciples in the Heihuan sect, UC's offer was extremely exaggerated. Heihuan sect was extremely wealthy, and few powers could compete with them in terms of wealth. After all, one of the purposes of the cultivators making money is to party, enjoy life, and Heihuan sect is the best place to enjoy life. In fact, some disciples of Heihuan sect have suggested expanding their business to include gambling, which could certainly double their income. However, the upper levels of Heihuan sect did not pass this proposal. Their opening to the outside world was for cultivation purposes, not to make countless money. Moreover, the imperial palace didn't like casinos. I don't need any money, I'll make it for free. Tang Ben felt that if he could make clothes for the disciples of Heihuan sect, he would be a treasured guest at Heihuan sect, and he could enjoy whatever he wanted in the future. This treatment could not be replaced by any number of spirit stones. He noticed Bai Hongtu's dangerous gaze. The materials for making clothes were provided by Dao sect. You say you don't want money, and you don't want money. If you dare to say no money, I dare to deduct your salary and the budget of artifact refinement peak. It's not possible for me to do it for free. I think the price of 100 high-quality spirit stones is quite appropriate. Tang Ben quickly corrected himself. Tang Ben had been frank with many disciples of the Heihuan sect, so there was no need for UC to negotiate prices. But can you, UC, make such a big decision by yourself? UC smiled slightly, without providing an answer. Seeing UC's reaction, Tang Ben knew that her status was not easy. It seemed that it's not as simple as being a madam. What types of clothes do you want to customize, UC? Very formal and solemn official clothes, festive wedding clothes, physician costumes. UC quickly listed a long string of clothing, which surprised the three of them. Tang Ben noted each one, indicating that he could make them soon and that he would deliver them in person. UC said that he was being polite. If you come again, the Heihuan sect will offer you a free service. Tang Ben was greatly encouraged. Zhang Li felt that helping the Heihuan sect and Dao sect reach an agreement was also respecting the instructions of the past human emperors and assisting the Heihuan sect. On the way out of the Heihuan sect, Tang Ben lamented, I don't know who UC really is. Zhang Li and Bai Hongtu naturally knew who UC was. They had recognized her the first time they saw her. It was indeed the head of the Heihuan sect, Dream Yu. UC returned to the deepest part of Heihuan sect, reverted to her original appearance, transforming into an unmatched beauty that bewitched the world. Zhang Li, Dream Yu softly murmured Zhang Li's name. She had also recognized the identities of Zhang Li and Bai Hongtu. It was just that since Zhongli did not want to reveal his identity, why should she unilaterally announce that she had recognized them? Neither party would be comfortable with that. Before the Great Zhou Spiritual Treasure competition, Zhongli had asked Dream Yu why she liked him, and Dream Yu listed several reasons, all of which were denied. After the competition, Dream Yu still couldn't understand this problem. She even once thought about retreating into emptiness, into a state of enlightenment. She went to the Buddhist sect, listened to the sutras till she had a headache, and finally chose to return and continue her role as the head of the Heihuan sect. However, the scriptures explained by Wu Ji were useful. After her retreat for a few days, she finally found the answer. Why do you need a reason to like someone? She believed that even if this question was posed to the saintess of pure heart, she would have the same answer. Tang Ben rushed back to the Dao sect to refine his clothes overnight, leaving Zhongli and Bai Hongtu alone. I'm going to a secret realm, are you going? Zhongli suddenly said. Which secret realm? The Hollow Void secret realm. Let's go. Chapter 307. With enough luck, even a stray dog can become immortal. Task released. The Merpeople tribe, in order to thank you for helping them win the competition, gifted you a jar of real dragon blood. You soaked in a bath of the dragon blood medicine, getting a substantial boost to your physical strength and your arm gaining a dragon transformation. After leaving the South Sea, you arrived at the Martial Emperor dynasty, just as the mystical realm of void was opening. People think less of you due to your lack of fame, assuming that you won't be able to acquire rewards within the mystical realm of void, and that your entry is just to make up the numbers. Please acquire the final reward in the mystical realm of void. This task can be abandoned. Task reward. Cultivation technique. 1 risk worth 1,000 gold, opening, borrowed PowerPoint, function, and a fetal fruit. Normally, Zhongli wouldn't undertake optional tasks like this, but the mystical realm of void was an exception. The owner of the mystical realm of void, known as the Void Master, is a veteran cultivator of the body integration realm, who is still active in JoJo. The Void Master believed that he had discerned the truth of the world, asserting that effort is pointless, talent is useless, and that all merit in cultivation depends on luck. So long as luck is by your side, even a stray dog can become a celestial being. In the history of JoJo, indeed there has been such case, or more precisely, anecdote. 40,000 years ago, an incredibly lucky stray dog that hadn't manifested any spiritual intelligence and hadn't even reached the first layer of chi cultivation, was bestowed with a spiritual artifact, magical treasures fed to it. It ascended to divinity under a series of fortuitous conditions. The monster clan values bloodline, the stronger your bloodline, the brighter your future. This mutt, even after tracing back 500 generations, was still nothing more than a common dog. This kind of beast becoming a celestial being, totally overturned the monster clan's understanding of the world. Some members of the monster clan doubted these anecdotal stories, dismissing the ascension of the stray dog as fabrication. However, the ageless sage publicly confirmed that 40,000 years ago, indeed, a stray dog did ascend to be a celestial being, matching the legend without distinction. It is precisely because of this that the Void Master regarded luck superior to effort. The mystical realm of void doesn't compare cultivation levels, nor does it compare fighting skills, nor wisdom even, but only purity of luck. Whoever has good luck prevails and receives the rewards. These lucky people are recognized by the Void Master as exceptional individuals with great fortune, building good karma with them, awaiting their resulting good deeds. 500 years ago, Zhongli miserably failed in the mystical realm of void and received a consolation prize, a towel, leaving him no chance to build good karma with the Void Master. Zhongli felt that his luck has been improving over the past 500 years. The strongest evidence of this is that he had even encountered the black and white impermanence. Lucky enough to see ghosts. He set out to void his past humiliation, intending to use the mystical realm of void to prove his luck. Bai Hongtu, on the contrary, had never been to the mystical realm of void. After all, he came from the Dao sect. Unlike Zhongli, a loose cultivator, Bai wasn't short on resources, there was no need for him to enter every mystical realm. Is there anything to be aware of before entering the mystical realm of void? Bai Hongtu had only heard that it tests your luck and knew nothing more about it. He hadn't had much communication with the Void Master either. After some thought, Zhongli asked, "How is your luck?" "It's okay, except my bad luck encountering you during the competition for the human emperor's position. Everything else I've wished for has been accomplished." "Then you should perform well in the mystical realm of void." In Wuguo, near the mystical realm of void. As the mystical realm of void was opening, a sea of people gathered outside the mystical realm, from the elderly to the young. The mystical realm of void does not restrict cultivation level but restricts age. Anyone under 100 years old can enter. Thank goodness, I'm not 100 years old yet. Bai Hongtu heaved a sigh of relief when he heard the entry condition. Continuing on, Zhongli said, indeed, as said by our ancestors, during ancient times, there was a great chuan tree that took 8,000 years as spring and 8,000 years as autumn. According to this calculation, we would be nothing more than a month-old baby. Calling us a month-old might be an exaggeration. Even with Bai Hongtu's composure, he felt uneasy about calling himself a month-old baby. In the southern region of Chu, there were spirits that took 500 years as spring and 500 years as autumn. By that count, we should be 4-month-old babies. What are they doing? Bai Hong looked curiously at the crowd of people gathered at the entrance of the realm. They were holding tributes and reciting some sort of chant. Seems like some kind of worship ceremony. Perhaps they're worshipping Buddha. Zhongli was quite familiar with this kind of situation. It was common for cultivators near the Buddhist temples to bow and scrape, hoping for good luck. May Zhong the Emperor bless me so that I can receive abundant rewards in the mystical realm of void. Heavens above, human emperor above, if I can make it to the end in the mystical realm of void, I will definitely make a return pilgrimage to the imperial palace. Zhong the Emperor, General Liu, Sect Master Li Sect Master Bai, the Sword Lord, Empress Yuyan, may all the transcendent beings of the past bless me to stand out in this journey, to receive the attention of the Void Master. May the ageless sage bless me so I can be as lucky as a celestial being. A row of statues, gender indistinguishable, stood in the background. Beneath each statue was a name familiar to Zhongli and Bai Hongtu. A crowd of people was chanting, sincerely taking spirit stones from their pockets, placing them before the statues. Zhongli looked at Bai Hongtu. It seems like a lot of people are worshipping you. More are worshipping you. Bai Hongtu saw a group of people worshipping, and felt eager to join. Does worshipping you work? Should I also give it a try? Zhongli asked curiously, what is your wish? Defeat you and become the human emperor. I don't know about worshipping others, but if you worship me, you definitely won't be able to fulfill that wish. Would you two like to choose a great power to worship? A young man, seeing Zhongli and Bai Hongtu, approached as if seeing potential customers. Would you want spirit stones? That would depend on your generosity. The young man laughed slyly. Zhongli tapped the youth. Dare to try to con me? Your guts have grown over the years, haven't they, Qin Luan? Mr. Zhong, the youth's smile froze. It was indeed Qin Luan. Even though Zhongli had changed his appearance, he could still guess Zhongli's identity from his familiar tone. Seeing the true master, Yuan Wuxing hurriedly came forward to explain, hoping that Zhongli would forgive him. Please, sir, understand our situation. We spent all our spirit stones at the auction a few days ago and are now penniless. This junior came up with a low-down trick to make a profit. We've placed these statues in front of the mystical realm of void because we knew it would attract numerous cultivators entering the realm to offer their prayers, from which we could profit. Wuxing, no need to be so nervous, I'm not the type to get upset about such things. Besides, these people aren't worshipping me, are they? What do you mean? Qin Luan didn't understand Zhongli's meaning. People are praying towards your statue, chanting your name, doesn't that count as worshipping you? Look carefully at the name written under the statue. Qin Luan finally understood after Zhongli's prompt. Below the statue, instead of Zhongli's, was the name Wang Li. Qin Luan looked at Yuan Wuxing, as his master was the one said to have crafted the statues, so the name on them would definitely be his handiwork. Yuan Wuxing replied sheepishly, I felt it inappropriate to use your name without your consent, so I made a slight modification. I never expected there would still be so many people worshipping it. It must be that people are too eager and have not read the name clearly. Zhongli was unsurprised by this. What they seek from worship is peace of mind. Who they worship doesn't actually matter. Chapter 308. Way of Testing Luck. Mr. Zhong, Song Ying, the little white fox, and Aguna bowed to Zhongli upon seeing him. However, Zhongli didn't want to reveal his identity, so he didn't let them announce it. The cultivation speed of all of them wasn't slow. Yuan Wuxing had just entered the divinity transformation stage, Qin Luan had become a nascent soul stage cultivator, Song Ying had reached the later stages of golden core, Aguna was at the middle stage of golden core, and the little fox's strength was steadily recovering, roughly at the nascent soul stage level. This kid has a nimble mind, I like him. Bai Hongtu decided that it was interesting to turn himself into Bai Hongku, and didn't get angry. This person is, Yuan Wuxing hesitated as he looked at Bai Hongtu. Old Bai, the sect master of Dao sect. So its sect master Bai. Whether it was the Mahayana realm or the Transcendence Tribulation stage, they were all significant figures beyond their reach now, and Yuan Wuxing was very respectful to Bai Hongtu. But Bai Hongtu wasn't the kind of person who cared about these things, he didn't care about people's attitudes towards him. Luck is determined at birth, how could worship possibly be useful? A blunt, old voice sounded, and with a wave of his large hand, he sent the people flying. These statues and spirit stones are yours, take them, you all have good luck, so why do you need to play these clever tricks? The old man tossed the statues and spirit stones to Yuan Wuxing and the others. What he disliked were people who had good luck but didn't appreciate it. The old man thought Qin Luan was this kind of person. Having said this, he then opened the secret realm. He is the truth seeker. Qin Luan had not anticipated that this old man was the truth seeker and that they had been scamming in the truth seeker's secret realm, but the old man hadn't driven them out. Congratulations, you've caught the truth seeker's attention. Zhang Li teased. The truth seeker values me. Qin Luan was stunned. Otherwise why do you think he didn't drive you out and even gave you the spirit stones from the worship? He sees that your path of luck is exceptional. Bai Hongtu and Zhang Li shared the same opinion. Although they didn't agree with the truth seeker's theory that everything was determined by luck, they couldn't deny that the truth seeker really did have skill. While he couldn't reach the level of divining luck, he still had the ability to vaguely judge luck, just not with guaranteed accuracy. If you perform well in the secret realm, the truth seeker will want to form a bond of goodwill with you. Many of the cultivators who formed a bond of goodwill with the truth seeker have become body integration realm cultivators. The truth seeker brought all the cultivators under 100 years old in the field to the secret realm, and Zhang Li and Bai Hongtu also blended in relying on their profound cultivation. On the path to becoming an immortal, some fall, some rise, and some walk a plain and dull lifetime, dying without even touching the threshold. Why is this? After a few hundred years of pondering, this old man has finally drawn a conclusion: it's luck. Whether one can become an immortal has nothing to do with talent, nothing to do with sweat, luck is the fundamental deciding factor. For those with good luck, a single 9 transformations immortal pill is enough for them to ascend in broad daylight. For those with bad luck, they risk deviation while training, resulting in death. A stray dog with no roots or comprehension can also become an immortal, and that's called luck. Bai Hongtu and Zhang Li transmitted messages to each other. Do you know what happened to that stray dog? I don't know. Ancestor Cheng Kun told me that after the stray dog ascended, it was appreciated by an immortal realm giant, who rewarded it with celestial fruits and exquisite medicines. And then it went from being an earth immortal to a heavenly immortal. And then the giant butchered it. You also feel like drooling, right? I was also drooling when I heard the immortal old man finish. I feel the focus isn't there. The two of them were whispering to each other off stage while the truth seeker was talking on stage. Luck is determined at birth and cannot be changed. Whatever happens in the future will merely prove people's good or bad luck. For instance, Bai Hongtu, the sect master of Dao sect, was born in Dao sect and was raised by immortal Cheng Kun. This is the most typical example of good luck. He was standing at the finish line of others the moment he was born. Bai Hongtu felt like hitting someone after hearing this. Your identity is good, so it's only natural to become stronger. One sentence disregarded all his efforts. If the result has nothing to do with effort, then everyone might as well lie down and wait for opportunities. Why would they need to cultivate? The truth seeker was still unaware that he was being watched by someone of the Transcendence Tribulation stage, and continued, then there's the more subtle type of good luck, just like Zhang Li, the human emperor. You may all say that luck isn't important. Zhang Li, who grounded up from insignificant origins, became an invincible figure of the Mahayana realm. However, to my knowledge, Zhang Li encountered an enemy during his foundation establishment stage, ignited his spiritual root, and prematurely stimulated his hidden heavenly spiritual root. People generally think this can prove Zhang Li's bravery. However, in my opinion, this proves that Zhang Li's luck is good. He saved himself. Change to someone else, a 5-element spiritual root is a 5-element spiritual root. Igniting the spiritual root won't change it into a heavenly spiritual root, they would have been long dead. The truth seeker proposed a different view, which led to the cultivators below the stage discussing in low voices. Zhang Li, becoming the Mahayana realm, must also be related to this. Bai Hongtu turned his head. Is it related? Bullshit. The highest cultivation base below the stage was only at the divinity transformation stage. They didn't dare to refute the truth seeker's viewpoint. Only Qin Luan proposed the opposite view. But isn't the effect of spiritual roots over by the body integration realm? With a wave of his hand, the truth seeker said, There will always be exceptions, and these exceptions are luck. You can look at the current body integration and transcendence tribulation stage cultivators in the 9 provinces, as well as Zhongli the human emperor. Is there anyone whose path of luck isn't good? Is Commander Huang of the Imperial Palace also considered lucky? Qin Luan continued to ask. Commander Huang was famous for his poor luck. He's alive and cultivated to the body integration realm, isn't that considered good luck? The truth seeker judged luck by results. According to his theory, whoever was successful was considered lucky. So, 500 years ago, when Zhongli failed the test and you failed to befriend Zhongli, was that also luck? Yuan Wuxing hastened to cover Qin Luan's mouth. This was something he dared say. Who didn't know this was a sore point for the truth seeker? However, the truth seeker did not get angry at Qin Luan. His instinct told him that this person named Qin Luan had extremely good luck. If he were to get angry at him, he would become his adversary. Being an adversary to somebody with good luck, his fate would be self-evident. He didn't consider the gap in realms, only luck. He admitted that he had misjudged Zhongli 500 years ago, but most of the time, his appraisal was accurate. The truth seeker didn't want to discuss this issue any further, and he demonstrated his method of judging luck. A black box appeared in every person's hand. Divine sense couldn't penetrate the box to see what was inside. The truth seeker held 3 different cards. There are these 3 cards in the box, available in unlimited quantities. He held up a golden card. Gold represents Mahayana realm. He held up a purple card. Purple represents Transcendence Tribulation stage. Lastly, he held up a white card. White represents Body Integration realm. Each of you will have 10 chances to draw from the black box. Gold represents the best luck, and white represents the worst. Of course, considering that wealth is also part of luck, the more wealth, the better the luck. You can also use spirit stones to continue drawing. Zhongli felt this scene was very familiar. Chapter 309, Zhongli's luck. Zhongli carefully scrutinized the black box. There was a small linear slot at the top. By patting either side of the box, cards would pop out. Some cultivators at the nascent soul stage and God transformation stage tried to probe the inside of the black box with their divine sense, hoping to find some tricks. But the black box provided by the true void was specially made, impervious to divine sense. One eager cultivator patted the box 10 times in a row. A trace of purple light mixed with white light was very conspicuous. 9 white, 1 purple. My luck isn't too bad, right? The cultivator who got the purple Transcendence Tribulation stage card felt that being at the Transcendence Tribulation stage was quite impressive. He looked around him. 9 white, 1 purple, 900, 1 purple, 9 white, 1 purple. Obviously, drawing a purple Transcendence Tribulation stage card wasn't rare. Purple lights flickered among the group of 9 white, 1 purple light beams, remarkably eye-catching. Who drew several purple cards? Isn't everyone getting 9 white, 1 purple? People looked at the owners of the several purple lights. I remember that cultivator, his name is Yuan Wuxing. He actually drew 4 purple cards. More purple lights flashed. The little white fox yelped, showing off to everyone that it had drawn 3 purple cards. How come even a fox has better luck than me? Yuan Wuxing and the little white fox were gatekeepers. After them, several more cultivators drew more than 2 purple cards. Song Ying and Aguna both got 3 purple cards. The true void nodded secretly. Sure enough, his judgment was spot on. This group of people had extraordinary luck. They would certainly accomplish something in the future, and it wouldn't be a problem for them to reach the body integration realm like him. Even going further, to become a great being at the Transcendence Tribulation stage, was possible. 9 white, 1 gold flashed by. At first no one paid attention. What was so amazing about 9 white lights? But soon the crowd stirred. The difference between purple light and golden light was huge, and the golden glow was striking in the secret realm. Someone pulled out a golden card. People couldn't believe their own eyes. How could there be such a big gap in luck between people? It's the human emperor's card. People craned their necks, eager to see what the golden card looked like. Qin Luan was also surprised. He didn't expect to draw a golden card. The true void was even more surprised than everyone else. The odds of drawing a golden card were extremely low. Many times the secret realm was opened, but no one drew a golden card. A great lucky star. This one was bound to achieve something extraordinary. The true void's means didn't work on Zhongli and Bai Hongtu. They were studying the black box. It should be the Tao of space, similar to a storage ring. The two used divine sense to see that the inside of the black box was a vast space filled with countless cards forming a sea of cards. Bai Hongtu patted the box, and the sea of cards inside the box would surge, and the cards at the crest of the wave would pop out from the small slot at the top of the box. A purple light flashed by. Transcendence Tribulation Stage. Bai Hongtu got a Transcendence Tribulation Stage card, and the image on it was himself. Interesting, purely luck-based, no manipulation involved. Bai Hongtu found that without external interference, the appearance of any card from the box was random, there were no rules to follow. Even if he used the same force or hit the box at the same point, the way the cards inside the box flowed was completely different. A purple light flashed by. Transcendence Tribulation again, but this time it's Sword Monarch's card. Bai Hongtu was unhappy not to have drawn a card with his own image on it. Let's do it again. Bai Hongtu got hooked on this game, drew cards again, and used up the remaining 8 chances. 7 purple, 1 gold. Adding the previous 2 purple lights, it made 9 purple, 1 gold. Not bad, I drew 3 cards of myself. Bai Hongtu didn't care about anything else, he just wanted to draw his own card. Bai Hongtu didn't care, but the other cultivators did. They thought Qin Luan's 9 white, 1 gold was quite rare already, and they didn't expect something even more astounding to follow. 9 purple, 1 gold. Did he use up all his lifespan to do this? The True Void was also unsettled. This was the luckiest person he had ever seen since he started the card drawing activity. On second thought, Bai Hongtu's luck was indeed good. Born into the Tao sect, he had access to endless resources, possessed an earth spirit root, and was unparalleled in talent. Even without working hard, he could comfortably cultivate to the body integration realm. Just a run-of-the-mill body integration realm, nothing special. Bai Hongtu believed that he was able to cultivate to the peak of the Transcendence Tribulation. To get through Immortal Tribulation once, it required luck, hard work, and intelligence. He couldn't afford to miss any of them. Seeing most people had finished drawing, Bai Hongtu next to him had even drawn the outrageous 9 purple, 1 gold. As a real Mahayana, wouldn't it be reasonable for me to draw 1 or 2 golden cards? Zhang Li patted the black box. 10 white lights flashed by. Instantly, Zhang Li's face was darker than the black box. Isn't it supposed to be a guaranteed purple card after 10 draws? The True Void was stunned. Before meeting you, I thought it was. When the True Void designed the black box, he set the odds of drawing a purple card at 1 in 10. If the first 9 draws did not produce a purple card, the odds of drawing a purple card in the 10th draw would be drastically increased, almost equivalent to a guaranteed purple card after 10 draws. He also encountered for the first time a cultivator who couldn't draw a purple card even after 10 consecutive draws. But Zhang Li didn't think so, he still wanted to draw his own card. How much to draw 10 more times? 648 top-quality spirit stones. The cultivators also wanted to draw a few more times originally, but now hearing this unreasonable price, they immediately dismissed this impractical idea. 648 top-quality spirit stones. This was a price crippling even for God transformation stage cultivators. 10 more times. Without another word, Zhang Li took out the spirit stones. Pat the spirit stones onto the box, it'll absorb them itself. Zhang Li did as instructed, and drew 10 more times. The black box absorbed the spirit stones, and the sea of cards inside rolled. 10 white lights flashed by. Hiss. Even the True Void, who had a deep understanding of luck, couldn't judge Zhang Li's luck. If you say his luck was good, he didn't even draw a purple card once. If you say his luck was bad, he had 20 consecutive white lights. This had never happened before. Its rarity was comparable to that of 9 purple, 1 gold. 10 more times. Zhang Li didn't even bat an eye, and again took out the spirit stones. 10 white lights flashed by. Originally, the True Void's standard for judging luck was who drew more purple and gold cards, had extraordinary luck. Now, he felt it could be changed. Whoever didn't draw purple and gold cards, their luck was extraordinary. Draw 50 times in a row. Zhang Li wanted to draw 50 times in one go. You can only draw 10 times at a time. The True Void reminded him from the side, and he felt a little uneasy for some reason. 9 white, 1 purple. When Zhang Li drew 10 again, he finally drew a purple card. Still haven't drawn a gold card yet, continue. Zhang Li won't stop until he draws a card of himself. A steady stream of spirit stones poured into the black box, and the white and purple lights alternated. Zhang Li repeatedly did the tedious work of charging spirit stones, until the black box finally had a different reaction. It exploded. Chapter 310, Card Upgrade. The entire secret realm fell silent. Everyone was first shocked by Zhang Li's domineering card-drawing stance, then silenced by the explosion of the black box. To sum up in a sentence, They've seen too little. This one, Dongshu Zhenren wanted to comfort the cultivator who exploded the black box, but realized he didn't know the other party's name. Wang Li. Zhang Li introduced himself. Not far away, Yuan Wuxing had a strange expression, as if he had remembered a person named Zhang Li who used to wander around Dao sect. Qin Luan also remembered the first time he met Mr. Zhang, who called himself Kong Li, in front of the mysterious secret realm. I wanted to ask if I could. Zhang Li was about to say something, but was hastily interrupted by Dongshu Zhenren. You can't get a refund on the spirit stones. Dongshu Zhenren was scared by this Wang Li, who filled the slots with 648 top-quality spirit stones without blinking an eye. He had just completed a half-hour 10-card draw, God knows how many spirit stones he had thrown in. Zhang Li looked like he was only at the god transformation stage, but the wealth he showed was extraordinary. Dongshu Zhenren thought he must be the illegitimate child of some rich transcendence tribulation stage cultivator. If he were asked to pay for the damage, he would guarantee to run away immediately, even forsaking the Dongshu secret realm. I wanted to ask, can the black box be repaired? I want to continue drawing. Dongshu Zhenren shook his head energetically. No, the black box was forged by me in imitation of the storage ring. If the storage ring is damaged, we lose contact with the space inside it and can't repair it. The same goes for the black box theoretically. Dongshu Zhenren had never tried to repair the black box before, because until now, the black box had never exploded. I see. Zhang Li was very disappointed. He still wanted to defy destiny and draw his own card. Although he could draw other people's black boxes, it wasn't as satisfying as drawing his own. I want to give it a try. Bai Hongtu watched Zhang Li playing so happily, rolled up his sleeves and also got interested. 1 white, 9 purple. It's not as good as the previous 9 purple and 1 gold. Bai Hongtu wasn't very satisfied with the result of his draw. 1 white body integration realm, 18 purple transcendence tribulation stage, and 1 gold Zhang Li card. Zhang Li's face turned black. The gaming experience was terrible. Bai Hongtu checked the card with his likeness on it. The displayed stage was early transcendence tribulation. He had a sudden idea, took 2 cards of his likeness and put them together. The cards miraculously merged into one, and the information on the card also changed. Bai Hongtu, middle stage of transcendence tribulation. He repeated the process with 2 more cards of his likeness. Bai Hongtu, late stage of transcendence tribulation. Bai Hongtu, past 1 divine ascension tribulation. Just as Bai Hongtu wanted to continue upgrading his own card, he found he couldn't merge anymore. What's going on? Dongshu Zhenren explained. It's hit its limit. Sect Master Bai Hongtu has only passed 1 divine ascension tribulation, so he can only merge 3 cards, leveling up 3 times. If Sect Master Bai Hongtu is able to continue crossing the divine ascension tribulation, I will update the cards. You're quite rigorous. Bai Hongtu was at a loss for words. He had thought he could carry out his goal of passing the divine ascension tribulation twice on the card. As a cultivator, being rigorous is necessary. Actually, you don't have to be so rigorous. You could try to upgrade my Sect Master Bai Hongtu's card first. Bai Hongtu tried to persuade him, but Dongshu Zhenren's stance was firm. No, this is a matter concerning the formidable transcendence tribulation. It's not a joke. What if Sect Master Bai Hongtu gets angry and vents his anger on me? Yuan Wuxing and others chuckled secretly. If you don't upgrade the card, Sect Master Bai Hongtu is unhappy right now. Bai Hongtu was too embarrassed to announce that he was Bai Hongtu and that he wanted to upgrade his own card. Why does the card with Zhang Li's image only indicate the Mahayana stage, and not the early, middle, or late Mahayana stages? The division of grades in the Transcendence Tribulation stage isn't of much significance. Anyone who can reach this stage possesses extraordinary abilities. For instance, Yu Yin stepped into the Transcendence Tribulation stage recently, and yet he can manipulate national destiny. Even veterans of the Transcendence Tribulation stage don't dare underestimate him just because he's a newcomer. Dongshu the Truth Man counter asked, how do we classify the Mahayana realm? Bai Hongtu turned and asked the man with a gloomy expression, how do we classify the Mahayana realm? I have no idea. I'm Wang Li, not Zhang Li. In fact, Zhang Li himself does not know how to classify the Mahayana realm. He only knows that ever since he became a cultivator in the Mahayana realm, he has been continuously getting stronger. The pace at which his power is increasing is faster than that of the power increase from the celestial tribulation. Gradually, the celestial tribulation becomes a trivia to him. In the past, he would prepare earnestly for his celestial tribulation, worried about what might happen if he couldn't survive it. Now, it's the celestial tribulation that has to prepare properly, striving to impose some pressure on this man called Zhongli. The Mahayana realm can be classified by age. Bai Hongtu never tires of discussing class divisions. While holding the golden card that represents luck, he said, for example, this one is Zhongli at 200 years old. After leveling up, it will be Zhongli at 300 years old. Then it's 400, 500. How perfect. Everyone thought about it and felt if there was another Mahayana cultivator in JoJo, they would probably say, look, that person is a 200-year-old Mahayana cultivator. What? This Mahayana cultivator is actually 300 years old. A 400-year-old Mahayana cultivator is horrifying indeed. He lived till 500 years after becoming a Mahayana cultivator. It feels somewhat odd. Dongshu the Truth did not consent to Bai Hongtu's whimsical thinking. His reasoning remained the same as before. This matter related to the powers of those in the Mahayana realm, and he dared not arbitrarily classify them. Seeing that everyone had used up their 10 free chances to draw cards and no one wanted to spend 648 premium spirit stones for another draw, Dongshu the Truth finally announced the end of the competition. Now that the secret realm exploration has concluded, I have assessed the luck of each participant. Song Ying, Aguna, you all are of medium-grade luck. Yuan Wuxing, Little Fox, you have high-grade luck. Qin Luan, you possess top-grade luck. The others should leave the secret realm. Fellow cultivators with at least medium-grade luck, stay. I have gifts for you. Dongshu the Truth glanced at Bai Hongtu, who undoubtedly had excellent luck and was eligible for the final reward. But the case with Zhongli perplexed Dongshu the Truth. He couldn't determine whether Zhongli was fortunate or not. His intuition sometimes hits, sometimes misses, so he couldn't just rely on it. Given that Zhongli had provided him with plenty of spine-chilling spirit stones, Dongshu the Truth grouped him and Bai Hongtu in the same tier. Both were eligible for the final reward. Please wait a moment, both of you. I have something to discuss with you. Song Ying, I see that you practice the art of painting. Early on, I managed to obtain this brush. An unknown werewolf demon king from the White Marsh Empire contracted alopecia, and I seized the opportunity to steal some of its hair and forge this brush. I present it to you. Aguna, from your appearance, it seems that you're from the Gu tribe. Although I'm not exactly proficient in Gu techniques, I understand that your tribe uses qi and blood to nurture the Gu. Here is an elixir that can increase your blood and qi. I present it to you. Yuan Wuxing, Little Fox, Qin Luan, your luck is an uncommon sight in my life. There should be a place for you in the future of JoJo. The lightning methods you cultivate are too forthright. You should soften them with yin energy. This 9-yin fruit can neutralize the excessive yang energy in you. Dongshu the Truth did not hide while presenting these gifts. Everyone witnessed what the others received, and greed arose. Especially when they saw Qin Luan receiving the 9-yin fruit, an incredibly valuable treasure that could draw 30 cards. It wasn't hard to predict what they would do after leaving. Dongshu the Truth did this on purpose. He believed that stealing and counter-stealing were a part of one's luck, and he shouldn't interfere. Those with good luck will always have the last laugh. You two don't appear to be cultivators in the divinity transformation stage, are you? Dongshu the Truth turned towards the two men who looked younger than their spiritual age, and asked. I'm Wang Li, divinity transformation stage. I'm Wang Hongtu, divinity transformation stage. Chapter 311, The Dream of True Man. Dongshu. My name is Wang Li, in the divinity transformation stage. My name is Wang Hongtu, in the divinity transformation stage. Could you both make your names any more perfunctory? Originally, the true Taoist believed Zhongli to be so generous because he was the illegitimate child of someone in the Transcendence Tribulation stage. But on second thought, that didn't seem right. Among the current 5 Transcendence Tribulation stages practitioners, Li was afraid of his wife. Sword Jun had only been born a few years ago, and couldn't have an illegitimate child this quickly. The Queen Yuyin didn't even have a harem, therefore, she wouldn't have an illegitimate child. Calculating this way, the only possible answer was that Zhongli was sect master Bai Hongtu's illegitimate child. However, the likelihood of this was very small. Who would make the identity of their illegitimate child so public, as if they were afraid others wouldn't know their status? If an illegitimate child's identity could be public, they wouldn't be called illegitimate. More importantly, one of them was named Wang Li, while the other was Wang Hongtu. It was clear they just changed their surnames and randomly chose a fake name. Human Emperor, it's been 500 years since we last met. True Taoist greeted with reverence. Ever since Zhongli failed his secret realm test 500 years ago, True Taoist hasn't seen him again. Sect Master Bai. True Taoist and Bai Hongtu didn't often meet either. True Taoist was a loose cultivator while Zhongli and Bai Hongtu were rulers of two of the most powerful forces. They seldom crossed paths. Even the Nine States Council didn't invite body integration realm loose cultivators to their meetings. The principal reason being that they were hard to find. As the younger generations left, Zhongli and Bai Hongtu simply stopped pretending. True Taoist, you're perceptive, seeing through the identities we painstakingly created. Bai Hongtu candidly admitted his identity. True Taoist felt even a blind person could see through their poor disguises. Human Emperor, your luck is indeed hard to describe. True Taoist bitterly smiled. The test 500 years ago was to randomly select a fruit, spit out the seeds, and the one who spit out all the seeds first won. Some selected apples, some pears, some watermelons, and others chose dragon fruit. Zhongli chose dragon fruit. In the end, he spat out seeds until he couldn't even speak smoothly. 500 years have passed and his strength has increased to the Mahayana realm, but his luck hasn't changed at all. True Taoist's method of judging people by their luck is quite accurate, except in the rare case of Zhongli. Zhongli speculated that 500 years ago, the system employed some means to let him win. What is the ultimate reward? A spiritual treasure, or some heaven and earth treasure? Bai Hongtu felt if it were anything ordinary, he wouldn't take it. He didn't need it, and it would be embarrassing to take it. Not exactly, I want to tell you the truth about the world. Despite merely being in the body integration realm, True Taoist dared to wildly proclaim that he had seen the truth of the world. It seemed ludicrous. However, True Taoist's serious attitude made others think he wasn't joking. We would like to hear more. Both men no longer laughed, but sat in stone seats quietly listening to what True Taoist had to say. Originally, True Taoist thought that due to his low stature, revealing this would only invite ridicule, but he didn't expect these two to choose to listen to him. The reasons why I choose to believe in fate stem from my dreams. Dreams. Bai Hongtu didn't have much experience with the dream path. Yes, I've been dreaming since I was a child, very realistic dreams. True Taoist nodded sincerely, indicating he wasn't lying. I came from a small sect, my father was the sect's elder. I grew up in the sect, then left and roamed in the 9 states, eventually becoming a body integration realm practitioner. When I was young, I dreamt that I died in my mother's womb. After waking up, I asked my mother if it was true. She told me that when she was pregnant, she was severely injured. Everyone thought I died, but my father successfully found a cure that not only saved my mother but also allowed me to be born. Before the dream, I wasn't aware of any of this. I also dreamed that our sect was annihilated by an enemy force and that I was killed. After investigating, I discovered that indeed there was an enemy force who wanted to wipe out our sect, but the day before they attempted, they offended a high-ranking person who eliminated them. Only then, our sect was spared from the assault. I also dreamed that I fell off a cliff and died at the bottom. The feeling of death was very real. Days before the dream, I froze while walking on the edge of a cliff and almost slipped. Luckily, I reacted quickly and escaped unscathed. After waking up, I always felt uneasy. I went to the bottom of the cliff to take a look. The scene at the bottom of the cliff was the same as in my dream, when previously I had never been down there. Can you imagine what that feels like? I felt like I was going crazy. True Taoist was frantic. He had nearly died in reality, while in his dream, he truly died. It was as if fate was mocking him, saying, "Good job dodging once, but there will be a day when you won't be so fortunate. You are certain to die." Zhongli and Bai Hongtu suddenly thought of Yufeng. Next, I practiced a cultivation technique causing my inner energy to go out of control. Thankfully, I suppressed it. A few days later, I dreamed that after my inner energy went out of control, I went on a killing spree. I was seen by a powerful cultivator who killed me with one strike. After investigating, I found out that the cultivator really did pass by the foot of our mountain when I went out of control. If it happened once, it could be said to be a coincidence, but if I dream of something I am unaware of constantly, it's hard to convince myself it's simply a coincidence. Eerie would be a more accurate description. I also dreamed of being attacked and killed by an extraterrestrial heavenly demon. In reality, however, human Emperor Lu showed up and saved me. Besides that, there were many similar dreams, all ending with my death. The dreams felt so real as if I had actually died. So, I felt that me being alive was purely due to luck. Everything is determined by fate. No matter how powerful, you can't defy fate. Zhongli and Bai Hongtu fell silent, pondering over the cause of True Taoist's dreams. They had never heard of such a thing before. I have been thinking, could there be other worlds where I have died and that reflected in my dreams? Other worlds. Zhang Li frowned. The other worlds, true Taoist referred to certainly wasn't the generic term for the 10,000 realms. Are you talking about parallel worlds? Zhang Li remembered an hypothesis Sumeru old Buddha had mentioned. Sumeru old Buddha suggested the possibility of a world like the 9 states, where when a choice between A and B is presented, we chose A in 9 states, but those in the parallel world chose B. This then created a divergence between the 9 states and the parallel world. What true Taoist meant was, he was alive in the 9 states, but he had died in the parallel world. Yes, parallel worlds. Human Emperor, your term is precise. True Taoist exclaimed, slapping his thigh. He had been struggling to find a term to describe the world where he had died, and Human Emperor had presented him with parallel world. Sumeru old Buddha's hypothesis of parallel worlds had no evidence, thus he didn't publicize it. He only discussed it with a few close acquaintances. Chapter 312. Initial Emperor Zhang Li. Zhang Li and Bai Hongtu both had a good relationship with old Buddha Zumi, who had shared his theories with them when he was bored. Regrettably, Zumi old Buddha's theory was just a hypothesis derived from his contemplation of Buddhist law, with no evidence to back it up. Old Buddha once inquired immortal elder Chengkun about this theory, with Zhang Li and Bai Hongtu standing by. The elder's answer was disappointing. He stated that even the immortal realm had no research on this, and he had no information about whether a parallel world really existed. If even the immortal realm didn't have this knowledge, it was simply impossible for just old Buddha Zumi to figure anything out. So, in the end, the old Buddha only muttered a Buddhist chant and never broached the subject again. If the old Buddha were still alive, seeing you would surely make him happy, Zhang Li suddenly said to the real man of void, leaving him puzzled. Why have you never mentioned this to others? Bai Hongtu was curious. If the real man of the void had shared his dream, the old Buddha would surely be informed. Everyone knew that the real man of the void believed in luck, but they didn't know why. I told some people, but no one believed me, the real man of void said with a bitter smile. He had talked about his dream with some friends, but no one believed him, and they thought he was making it up. His friends often made fun of him for it, so he didn't want others to mention it anymore. He just treated his dreams as a final reward and shared them with the luckiest juniors. Do you believe me? The real man of the void asked, a hint of surprise in his voice, as if he was pleased that these 2 big shots believed him. Somewhat, Zhang Li suddenly thought, was it possible that there was a world where the system wasn't activated yet, and he completed tasks following the predetermined trajectory of the system? If such a world did exist, he would be curious to see what his other self in that world would be like. His parallel self should already be in the immortal realm. Have you encountered any near-death experiences recently? Bai Hongtu asked. According to the real man of void, he had dreams every time he narrowly escaped death. Bai Hongtu wanted to see his dreams. Although the real man of void understood Bai Hongtu's intentions, he felt that the question was somehow odd, like he was being urged to experience death. Not sure. The real man of void nodded. Sometimes I don't even know that I nearly died until after I've had the dream. Then, I realize, oh, that situation was dangerous, I survived a catastrophe. Sect Master Bai, do you want to see my dream? Zhang Li and Bai Hongtu nodded. Both of them had developed a great interest in the real man of void's dream. Can you sleep? Or do you need some help? Bai Hongtu excitedly rolled up his sleeves, seeming like he was ready to take action. No, I can sleep on my own. The real man of void took out his mattress and pillow, changed into his pajamas, hugged a pillow, lit up the incense, and prepared to sleep. You're pretty particular. The real man of void said no more as he had already drifted into his dream. Bai Hongtu used the dream path technique to bring both himself and Zhang Li into the real man of void's dream. What a big fire! As soon as they entered the dream, they saw a raging fire. It was spreading across mountains and rivers, engulfing the sky and the earth as if nothing else existed but the endless flames. The crying of children, the desperate pleas of adults, the crackling sounds of burning trees, the sound of collapsing houses, it was like apocalypse. Zhang Li wanted to put out the fire, but he found he couldn't interfere with the dream, which startled him. He had entered other people's dreams many times before, fought against others within them. Usually, dreams could be impacted by external forces, but the real man of void's dream was special. They were merely spectators, powerless to alter anything, as if they were watching a memory. Bai Hongtu also noticed this. Could this not be a dream, but the memory of the real man of void? The 2 of them walked in the midst of flames, unrelated to the dream scenario. They couldn't feel the heat of the flames, and people within the dream couldn't see them, either. Is this JoJo? Bai Hongtu frowned. Theoretically, ordinary people from Jojo should have some cultivation base, and it was unlikely they would need to be rescued from a fire. From the language they're speaking, it indeed is Jojo, Zhang Li said, judging from the language used by people. The fire is not ordinary, it might be caused by a high-level cultivator's fight, affecting ordinary people. What baffled Zhang Li was that with the Imperial Palace and himself there, how could a fight among cultivators that endangered ordinary people happen in Jojo? Where's the real man of the void? Boom, the sound of cultivators fighting came from a distance, making the whole mountain shake. Let's go check it out. They quickly went toward the sound. A few tall figures stood towering against the sky, giving off a sense of pressure. Centered around these figures, an aura of oppression spread out, causing the mountain to collapse and crumble into dust. Any average cultivator who approached them would be crushed to death, their soul dispersed. Transcendence Tribulation Stage, Bai Hongtu exclaimed. How could cultivators at the Transcendence Tribulation Stage fight in the Jojo mainland, regardless of the lives of the Jojo people? Commander Liu, Sword Lord, Yu Yin, Li Er, and even myself. Bai Hongtu couldn't believe the scene before his eyes. All these familiar people were there. Could an external heavenly demon be forcing us to fight here, regardless of Jojo people's lives? But what Bai Hongtu saw was not the case. 5 Transcendence Tribulation Stage cultivators were confronting a man with an atrociously terrifying presence, Zhang Li. They're up against you. Bai Hongtu was stunned as he looked at Zhang Li, who remained silent, his brows furrowed. The surroundings had been turned into flat ground, and the two of them could not determine where in the Jojo continent this battlefield was, but they could confirm that they were indeed in Jojo. In the center of the battlefield, 5 Transcendence Tribulation Stage cultivators were facing off against the unfathomably powerful Zhang Li, while the real man of the void was hiding behind the 5, shivering with fear. There's no need for you all to go this far for me, that's Zhang, said the real man of the void in a low voice, but no one present cared about what he said. Hall Master, why do you want to kill the real man of the void this time? As the strongest existence among the Transcendence Tribulation Stage cultivators, Commander Li stepped forward to negotiate with Zhang Li. Yet, judging by Liu's tense body, it seemed that he was ready to strike at any time. Commander Liu, you address the Emperor as Hall Master again. I respect you as an elder of the Imperial Palace, so I'll spare your life first. Zhang Li in the dream sounded domineering, projecting an aura of unrivaled supremacy. I'll tell you one last time, having accomplished more than any previous emperors and my cultivation is unparalleled, the term, Emperor, is inadequate to describe me. You should address me as, Initial Emperor. As soon as the title, Initial Emperor, was mentioned, thunder rumbled in the sky, with thunderclaps ringing in the ears non-stop, followed by a downpour. It was as if the world acknowledged this title. As for the real man of the void, I'm not even able to draw my own card and his black box laughs at my luck. That's an act of defiance and must be punished. When Initial Emperor Zhang Li mentioned, must be punished, he was filled with murderous intent and appeared to be resolved to kill, regardless of anyone's opposition. Real man of the void's face turned ashen. He never expected that while he was simply following routine to open the secret realm and choose those with the greatest luck, Initial Emperor Zhang Li would suddenly appear, stop everyone at the gate, and enter the secret realm himself, claiming to ensure his first place. After the card drawing ended, Initial Emperor Zhang Li became unhappy with his luck and decided to vent his anger by killing him. Chapter 313, Brutality. My fate is sealed. Dongshu Zhenren sighed in lament. The person Initial Emperor Zhang Li wanted to kill was doomed without a doubt, and there was no exception. Zhang Li indeed lived up to the title of the Initial Emperor, as he stood at the forefront fighting against the heavenly demons from beyond their realm, valiantly killing enemies, safeguarding the safety of the 9 provinces, and his cultivation level was peerless across the ages. The emperors of past generations could not be compared to him. However, the Initial Emperor Zhang Li had the biggest problem: he was too brutal. Even the slightest displeasing event would trigger a killing spree. It was said that when he returned to the Zhang family, he uprooted the family entirely, leaving no one alive. Even a 3-year-old child was not spared. Anyone who had associations with the Zhang family was also killed: the city lords, the magistrates, and numerous other officials, even the innocent who were related within 9 generations. Countless individuals lost their lives as a result. This seriously violated Zhou state's law and harmed the prosperity of the Zhou state. Upon hearing this news, Emperor Ji of Zhou wanted to punish Initial Emperor Zhang Li for disrespecting Zhou's law, and Zhang Li responded by directly punching and shattering the national fortune of Zhou state. Emperor Ji coughed up blood for 3 days, barely hanging on to his life. He is still unconscious to this day. Not long ago, he wiped out the entire South Zhao Dragon tribe, dyeing the South Sea red with blood. Initial Emperor Zhongli also participated in some secret realms, not allowing others to enter. He would go in alone, just so he could rank first. People didn't know why Initial Emperor Zhongli was so obsessed with being first, nor did they dare to ask. Mysterious secret realm, sword tomb, ink and wash mystery he had been to all of them. If one was to compare the Initial Emperor Zhongli and the heavenly demons from beyond their realm, Zhongli indeed had great merits towards the 9 provinces. However, when people faced Initial Emperor Zhongli and thought of his brutality, they still hoped that he could have a more benevolent personality. The least they asked was for him to kill fewer people, they did not expect him to handle things perfectly. Unfortunately, how could there be such a perfect person in the world who has a high level of cultivation and a good temper at the same time? Anyone who accidentally upset Initial Emperor Zhongli could only admit their misfortune and pray that he would not vent his anger on their family. The actions of Initial Emperor Zhongli finally led to dissatisfaction among the people. Some Transcendence Tribulation stage cultivators wanted to rebel. They believed that if they could save Dongshu Zhenren, it would be the first successful step in their rebellion. Dongshu Zhenren hoped that the cultivators at the Transcendence Tribulation stage could successfully resist, even though the probability was very small. Sword Monarch, when I was in the Sword Tomb, I helped you out of the abyss of Heart Demon, are you still going to draw your sword against me? Initial Emperor Zhongli asked indifferently. Initial Emperor, I thank you for rescuing me, but this matter does not involve personal grudges. The Sword Monarch drew his sword. Upon hearing Zhongli's question, he hesitated for a moment, but still insisted on standing against him. The people of the 9 provinces thank you for saving them from the threat of the heavenly demons. You possess unrivaled strength, naturally allowing you to do whatever you want, kill whoever you want. We just hope that before you use your power, consider whether this person truly deserves to die. Yu Yin in the dream world was quite different from the one in reality. She was respectful to Zhongli, actively placing herself in a lowly position, her tone filled with a pleading sense. Take Dongshu Zhenren, for example, he merely took out a black box for you to draw cards, and you killed him because you didn't win. A cultivator worked hard to reach the body integration realm, only to die because of this minor incident. Don't you find that funny? Bai Hongtu in the dream world was no longer laughing, but was deadly serious when confronting Zhongli. In the face of Initial Emperor Zhongli, who was mercurial, one had to be cautious. Initial Emperor Zhongli laughed heartily, seemingly uncaring about the pleas of the Transcendence Tribulation stage cultivators. My power is self-cultivated, how can I use it only with your permission? Survival of the fittest is the order of nature. The weak should serve the strong. If I want to kill someone, that person can only accept death passively, obediently waiting to die. You have often offended my divine might. The reason I did not kill you is due to the consideration that cultivation is hard to achieve. Do not let my tolerance towards you go to waste. The few present knew that the fact that they were still alive was not due to the kindness of Initial Emperor Zhongli, but because they were at the Transcendence Tribulation stage, only second to the Initial Emperor Zhongli himself. If he killed them, Initial Emperor Zhongli would only be able to rule over those at the body integration realm. Those at the body integration realm were just like larger ants to Initial Emperor Zhongli, ruling over them held no excitement. In that case, let us bear witness to the moves of the Initial Emperor. Li Er spoke slowly and started to mobilize his laws. The commander of Willow transformed into a gigantic willow tree, towering into the sky with verdant green leaves and stretching branches that lashed towards Zhongli, shattering the void with its formidable power. Facing the invincible Initial Emperor Zhongli, the commander of Willow didn't hold back, unleashing his most powerful move. As the branch of the willow tree that could shatter the void approached, Initial Emperor Zhongli didn't dodge or avoid, instead stretching out his hand to grab the formidable branch, stripping off the leaves with his bare hand. Each leaf was equal to the true blood of the commander of Willow, which could only be restored over time. Initial Emperor Zhongli kicked the willow tree that the commander of Willow had transformed into, breaking it off. The commander of Willow reverted back to human form, coughing up a great amount of blood. Yu Yin, with the national fortune enhancing her power, brandished her ink and brush, launching her paintwork arts. All sorts of exotic creatures came alive from her brush, attacking Initial Emperor Zhongli with both terrifying presence and immeasurable energy. The heavenly origin chessboard appeared beneath the feet of Initial Emperor Zhongli. He stood in the center of the chessboard with the exotic creatures attacking him from all sides without end. Yu Yin should have stopped using her painting skills after reaching the Transcendence Tribulation stage. Bai Hongtu furrowed his brows. As Yu Yin had not used her painting ability, Dongshu Zhenren should not have been able to imagine it. Even if he forcefully imagined it, it definitely should not have been able to be as it is now. A cultivator at the body integration realm absolutely could not imagine the abilities of a transcendence tribulation stage cultivator. Bai Hongtu could tell, if Yu Yin were to unleash her painting ability, this would be the scene. It seems this is indeed as Dongshu Zhenren said, it is something happening in a parallel world. Zhang Li's face darkened as if water could be wrung out of it. If it were not a dream that could not be changed, he would indeed have wanted to battle with this Zhang Li who declared himself the initial emperor, to give his alternate counterpart a bit of a lesson. Amidst the relentless attacks, initial emperor Zhang Li remained nonchalant. With a gentle wave of his hand, he turned those fierce creatures back into black ink that could never reassemble. Zhang Li, with such unparalleled speed, stood before Yu Yi. His essence, qi and spirit surged, threatening to immerse the entire 9 provinces. Initial Emperor Zhang Li gently caressed the delicate face of Yu Yin, examining her closely. Such a handsome lady, why would you want to step into the limelight to become an emperor? A hero should be accompanied by a beauty. Once I establish the 9 provinces celestial dynasty, I will take you into the harem. Yu Yin, Pure Heart, Red Dust, Dream Yu Yu, Song Ying, Li Nian, all the beauties in the world should belong to my harem. The real Bai Hongtu believed that initial Emperor Zhang Li had no affection for beauties, but only raw possession. Initial Emperor Zhang Li only wanted to collect all the beauties in the world, to flaunt his power to the world. If this was truly happening, Saintess Pure Heart probably wouldn't like the initial Emperor Zhang Li, and she certainly wouldn't be pleased about becoming part of his harem. Spit. Yu Yin was extremely disgusted with initial Emperor Zhang Li's invitation, and she no longer maintained her respectful demeanor. Initial Emperor Zhang Li pinched Yu Yin's slender neck and flung her away. Someone doesn't appreciate kindness. Zhang manifested his divine power, running rampant in all directions, unbeatable. Bai Hongtu, who was watching the battle, finally understood what it would look like when Zhang Li made his move. This was probably him still holding back, otherwise none of the people present would have survived. Where is the immortal artifact? Bai Hong recalled, seeing that all of the Transcendence Tribulation stage cultivators were using spiritual treasures, and asked himself why they weren't using immortal artifacts. Chapter 314, The Real Existing World. In comparison to the initial Emperor Zhang Li, those in the Transcendence Tribulation stage, though being the top combatants in the 9 provinces, still fell short. They couldn't withstand Zhang Li's onslaught and returned in defeat. If only the magic gourd was still. Yu Yin barely gathered himself up. Blood dripped from the corner of his mouth, in vivid contrast to his pale face. Even if it were still here, it wouldn't help. Bai Hongtu, who was equally beaten up in the dream, tried to stand up, but lacked the strength to do even that. After several attempts, Bai Hongtu finally didn't try to get up again. Instead, he laid flat on the ground, bitterly laughing. Do you think the immortal artifacts would pose a threat to him? When Yin Yang Heavenly Seal Ancestor wanted to establish the Spiritual Treasure Dynasty and enlighten all the spiritual treasures in the world, the initial emperor was outraged. He shattered all the immortal artifacts, except for the past and present sword, whose whereabouts were unknown. That's an immortal artifact on par with an immortal's strength. It couldn't last a few moves in his hands. The initial emperor is really too strong. How on earth did such a person become the human emperor? Li Er, unable to even consolidate his most basic legal body, leaned against a massive rock, huffing and puffing for breath. When he heard Zhang Li mentioning taking his beloved daughter, Li Nianer, into his harem, he exploded in anger and challenged Zhang Li to a fight to the death. However, the gap between the two was too vast. Li Er didn't have the qualifications to fight to the death with Zhang Li. The legal body he was so proud of was shattered by one punch. The human emperor candidates chosen by the 9 provinces Earth Veins have 2 criteria. One is to possess great cultivation talent, the other is willing to sacrifice their lives for the beings of 9 provinces. The initial emperor fulfills both criteria, the Commander Lu explained. His abundant life force still allowed him to move. However, that was all he could do. He was out of strength to fight again. I can understand the superior cultivation talent, but is he really willing to sacrifice his life for the beings of 9 provinces? Everyone else remained silent, only the Sword Monarch was puzzled. He had yet to completely understand Zhang Li since he stepped out of the Sword Tomb. You didn't witness it. During Zhang Li's crossing into the Transcendence Tribulation stage, he risked his life against the Heavenly Demon. If the Heavenly Demon had one more move, Zhang Li would have been wiped out, Commander Lu continued to explain. As Zhang Li himself said, 9 provinces is the Emperor's territory, the Heavenly Demon has no right to meddle. Only after Zhang Li advanced into the Mahayana realm did he easily defeat the Heavenly Demons. People gradually forgot that he was once weak, and had struggled hard. Looking at the outcome, during Zhongli's reign, it was the period with the least deaths in 9 provinces over 9,000 years. It seems that he has killed a lot of people, but in fact, he has killed far fewer people than the heavenly demons have. Commander Lu had secretly counted the number of deaths. The crowd fell silent. They had no choice but to admit that the situation was better when Zhongli was around. Actually, among the human emperors, there were people with similar characters to Emperor Zhongli. But influenced by the power of faith, they would gradually change their thoughts. However, they are in the transcendence tribulation stage, not truly invincible. After all, there are immortals and everlasting elders in the 9 provinces. But Zhongli doesn't need the power of belief. After reaching the Mahayana realm, he isn't restrained by anyone. Commander Lu had dealt with dozens of human emperors and seen various personalities among them. Cave Spirit, are you ready to die? Zhongli didn't have the intent to kill the few in the transcendence tribulation stage. They were no more than entertainment during his idle times in his eyes. But for Cave Spirit, he seemed genuinely intent on killing. Emperor, are you really going to kill me because you can't draw a good card? Cave Spirit found this reasoning absurd. Heavenly immortal level heavenly demons see the Emperor's dignity and flee in horror. If the Emperor wasn't there, they wouldn't be resorting to such despicable means, they would have started a bloody massacre long ago. Another way to put it, the Emperor has saved 9 provinces, including you all. You all owe the Emperor a life. The Emperor can kill whoever he wishes. Cave Spirit still wasn't giving up, trying to prove his worth. Right, you wanted to get the final reward from me, didn't you? I can tell you, as long as you spare my life. No need, the Emperor's task may fail, but you must die. Zhongli coldly interrupted Cave Spirit's words, crushed his spirit platform, and tossed his body away like garbage. Beast. The real Zhongli was infuriated. The Mahayana energy spread in the dream, expansive and endless. Some insects are peeping at the Emperor's actions. Though it was obviously a memory, Zhongli seemed to be able to sense the 2 men observing the memory and he suddenly raised his head. Who is it? Zhongli didn't like this feeling. But despite exhausting all means to search, he found nothing. With Cave Spirit's death, his dream ended at this moment, and Zhongli and Bai Hongtu returned from the dream. This dream had upturned their understanding, showing them a different world's version of themselves. Bai Hongtu was still in Transcendence Tribulation stage, and Zhongli in the Mahayana realm. Their realms were unchanged, but their relationship was completely different from reality. The 9 provinces in their dream, in particular, felt alien to them. Was that really you? Bai Hongtu looked at Zhongli, unable to equate the Emperor Zhongli in the dream with the Zhongli beside him. I fear it was. Zhongli had to admit that the person called the initial Emperor was his parallel universe self. How can your personalities differ so much? Bai Hongtu was dumbstruck, as his own character in the dream was identical to his real self. A person's character is affected by various factors. For example, if you were beaten or scolded as a child, bullied when you were weak, or heard certain words when your will was not firm, it might have changed your personality. Perhaps, that person called the initial Emperor had suffered some psychological trauma. Zhongli gave Bai Hongtu a sidelong glance. Also, this is only one parallel universe. Can you guarantee that all parallel universe versions of you are the same? Bai Hongtu really couldn't guarantee that. Phew, Cave Spirit suddenly sat up, like a zombie jumping out of a coffin. He felt that the past dreams were never as terrifying as this one. In the dream, Cave Spirit was not in control of his own body. He was like a puppet on a string, watching several individuals in the Transcendence Tribulation stage battle with Zhongli, and finally watched himself get killed by Zhongli. Thank goodness the real world lacks a Zhongli. Sadly, I exist in the real world too. Zhongli murmured in Cave Spirit's ear. Oh, my god. Cave Spirit was startled. He thought he was going to be killed by Zhongli in reality as well. So, it's the human emperor. Seeing the kindly face of Zhongli, Cave Spirit suddenly felt fortunate to live in this version of the 9 provinces. I meant there isn't an initial emperor Zhongli in the real world. Cave Spirit corrected his previous statement, appreciating the current benevolent Zhongli greatly. Zhongli shook his head. Unfortunately, your dream is likely the memory formed before your death in a parallel universe. In other words, in that parallel universe, the initial Emperor Zhongli does exist. The dream is about the parallel world, it's not my imagination. If you could imagine the battle methods used by those in the Transcendence Tribulation stage. In the dream, the strategies used by Yu Yin and others matched the intensity of the Transcendence Tribulation stage, but they had never used them before. Cave spirit couldn't imagine such things. On the other hand, the methods used by the initial emperor Zhongli need no imagination. They were just punches and kicks, plain and simple, reversion to simplicity, coinciding with the true Zhongli. Cave spirit lowered his head, quickly accepting the fact that there were Zhonglis with different personalities in different worlds. In fact, in the dreams he's had, many of his other selves had different personalities from the real him. It is precisely because of these personality differences that led to the death of his parallel universe self. Chapter 315, Gambling a Fortune. Please don't reveal this matter. Zhongli negotiated with Dongshu True Person, who was still immersed in the dream world ruled by the first emperor. Whatever Zhongli said, Dongshu True Person agreed to, with no resistance. Zhongli felt that Dongshu True Person needed some time to recover, so he gave his shit a pat and left the secret realm. Claim mission rewards. The ultimate reward for Dongshu's secret realm was to hear Dongshu True Person talk about his dream, which was a task that Zhongli had already completed. Claim. A cultivation technique called 1,000 gold in a cast appeared in Zhongli's hand. Zhongli browsed through it and found it to be an interesting technique. I regret spending my whole cultivation life relying on elixirs, without the slightest bit of effort, which resulted in unstable foundations, always falling behind in fights with those at the same level. Fortunately, I possess the business acumen that others cannot match. After years of operation, my business has grown large with countless spirit stones rolling in, it read. After 100 years of meditation, I've finally comprehended the way to immortality through wealth. Hence, I've written this book as a memento. This technique is called 1,000 gold in a cast, which can convert spirit stones into power. The more spirit stones, the stronger the power. When he flipped to the last page, it read. In a fight against a formidable opponent, I exhausted all my resources. My business collapsed, and I'm now selling this cultivation technique at a low price. This technique should be called bankruptcy. Zhongli felt that this was another useless technique. Couldn't the system offer something useful instead of rewarding these sort of things that Bai Hongtu wouldn't even cultivate? I've found an interesting technique. Would you like to practice it? Zhongli handed the handbook to Bai Hongtu. Bai Hongtu flicked through it and commented disdainfully, no. Zhongli shrugged. See, even Bai Hongtu wouldn't practice it. Bai Hongtu pondered for a moment, and with a stroke of his brush, revised the technique. I've made some changes to the technique. The efficiency of the transformation of spirit stones into power is too low. After my modifications, it will be increased by 80%. Zhongli glanced at it opaquely. It was as Bai Hongtu described it, maximizing the utilization of spirit stones. Normally, I would call this writing a new technique. You're not actually thinking of practicing this, are you? Bai Hongtu cautiously inquired. Zhongli was confused. Why would I want to practice this? Using all of Jojo's spirit stones wouldn't be as powerful as a couple of my usual attacks. Bai Hongtu let go of his breath. He was worried that if Zhongli practiced this technique, it would cause a scarcity of spirit stones in Jojo, plunging the economy into a crisis. The system rewarded Zhongli with a heavenly infant fruit again. The heavenly infant fruit is good for perfecting the nascent soul. If a nascent soul stage cultivator consumes one, it would help to perfect their nascent soul. There were loads of these planted behind the imperial palace. Enable borrow original point function. How much do you need? Zhongli asked his system, looking at the string of question mark original points he had, generously asking it if it needed to borrow any. The system did not answer Zhongli's question, instead giving usage instructions for the new function. Zhongli read the instructions and found the system can loan original points, without cap. It was to be repaid in a year at a 40% interest rate, pure usury. Zhongli didn't need this function. Where are you going? Bai Hongtu asked. To the mysterious secret realm, to study the dream path, answered Zhongli. When it comes to who in Jojo is most familiar with the dream path, that would be the main resident of the mysterious secret realm, the great dreamer, Dream Pure. Your Majesty, you cannot abandon concubine. Have you forgotten the vows of eternal love we made? A woman dressed in exquisite clothes cried miserably. Judging from her attire, she should be the empress. HMPH, besides being attractive, you have nothing to offer, and yet you dare to bewitch my heart. You cannot be tolerated. The emperor waved his sleeve, pushed the empress away, turned and embraced another woman. My beloved concubine is much more useful than you, providing me with helpful advice for the court, aiding me in consolidating my rule, and making the country stronger. The empress looked at the beloved concubine in disbelief. So all the questions you asked me were happening in the court. The beloved concubine looked at the empress disdainfully. Dear sister, you must not make wild guesses. All the management of state affairs I sorted out was personally figured out by me after pulling all-nighters, just to share the emperor's worries. The emperor looked dearly at his beloved concubine. My beloved, you work hard. Zhongli walked into the mysterious secret realm and witnessed this scene, thinking he had gone to the wrong place. It was only after a closer look that he realized the empress was actually dream pure. Experiencing mortal life, I never expected to encounter such an incompetent ruler as you. The empress said coldly, glancing contemptuously at the two. Guards, the empress has gone mad, throw her into the cold palace. The emperor shouted for his guards. Throw me into the cold palace? The empress let out an aloof smile. You can certainly try. The empress's aura began to escalate, to the nascent soul stage to the divinity transformation stage body integration realm. You're at the body integration realm. The emperor and beloved concubine clung together, unable to believe that the innocent and romantic empress who seemed so easily bullied, was actually a powerful body integration cultivator. Your Majesty, my love for you is true. The emperor pushed the beloved concubine away and tried to come close to the empress. Love me. The empress laughed coldly and pushed the emperor away. Seeing this, the beloved concubine knelt and kowtowed, begging for forgiveness. Dear big sister, for the sake that we entered the palace at the same time, spare me once. I won't dare do it again. Spare you, the empress revealed a cruel smile, and just when she wanted to take action against her beloved sister, she was interrupted by Zhongli's cough. Well, I think the play is enough. Zhongli felt this palace drama was awkwardly embarrassing. The empress blushed and quickly dispersed the illusion people. She was having fun alone and didn't expect anyone would enter the secret realm. Turning dreams into reality, Elder Dream Pure's dream path is deserving of its reputation. Zhongli gave a bow in praise. Even if the mysterious secret realm was not open, Zhongli had the ability to enter. Dressed in the empress's clothes, Dream Pure had a unique charm with countless emotions in her eyes. She slowly curtsied to Zhongli, her wide red dress sprawling on the ground, like a striking, exotic flower that just blossomed. The human emperor flatters me too much. As a remnant soul, I can only use these little tricks in the secret realm. This is no small trick. Even Bai Hongtu, who has learned the dream path, cannot achieve this. What business does the human emperor have? Dream Pure pretended as if she wasn't just role-playing. I would like to ask a question, and also learn the dream path. Zhongli explained the dream of Dongshu true person. This is indeed very unique. Dream Pure marveled at the matter, she had never heard of such a thing before. She conjured up 2 wooden chairs and a table. Please, have a seat, human emperor. Dreams reflect the soul and heart. Perhaps the souls of Dongshu true people from different worlds resonated with each other and they can see the scene before their death. This is both a dream and a memory. Is it possible to use dreams as a stepping stone to go to a parallel world? After contemplating for a while, Dream Pure hesitantly responded, in theory, it's impossible. According to Dongshu true person's dream, the incident has already happened, and it's barely related to the parallel world. However, the first emperor could perceive your existence, which shows that both of you are against the norm. Since both of you defy the norm, then anything is possible. Zhongli nodded, which was consistent with his conjecture. That's why I'm here to study the dream path from you. Chapter 316, Learning the Dream Path. Does the human emperor have a foundation in dream path? Zhongli was eager to learn, and Dream Pure naturally wished to impart her knowledge. Before commencing the lessons, she wanted to understand Zhongli's background. Well, I can confidently say that as soon as my head hits the pillow, I can sleep till dawn. Okay, I admit I haven't studied the dream path before. Zhongli couldn't make things up anymore. Those who mastered the dream path were rare in the 9 provinces, and he had not specifically studied it. Before he became the human emperor, he had encountered enemies attacking him with dream landscapes a few times. However, by then he was already considered invincible among his peers. He was equally formidable in dreams, leaving his enemies with no choice but to surrender. Zhongli had never experienced a threat from the dream path and did not feel the necessity to learn these skills to counter his enemies. I have heard ancient tales about the dream path from the immortal. The immortal says that a dream is the unconscious adaptation and reconfiguration of various real things in our minds. They are neither real nor fake. If one reaches the highest level of the dream path, they can dream 1,000 dreams, turn dreams into reality, and reality into dreams. It is said that the Buddha once slept for hundreds of thousands of years, dragging a corner of the immortal realm into his dream. The corner of the immortal realm, along with its inhabitants, gradually vanished, appearing instead in Buddha's dream. Despite their efforts, the immortals couldn't locate the missing corner. Only when the Buddha woke up did that corner of the immortal realm return. By then, hundreds of thousands of years had passed. Numerous generations of monks living there had come and gone. Even earth immortals had lived and died multiple times, until in the end, there were none left who could attain immortality. They reproduced in the dream, slowly forgetting that they were citizens of the immortal realm. When they arrived in the immortal realm, they thought they had ascended. This dream of Buddha, transforming dreams into reality and reality into dreams, is an example of the true mastery of the dream path. I've heard some of these things and am greatly enamored by them. Dream Pure nodded, admitting that her understanding of the dream path paled in comparison to legendary figures like the Buddha. To cultivate the dream path, the first thing you need to do is sleep more. Dream Pure sprawled lazily on the ground, showing her graceful figure. The human emperor should sleep as well. I will teach you the dream path in your dreams. Zhongli took out his pink pillow, prepared to sleep as soon as his head touched it. In the dream, Dream Pure transformed into a giant fish thousands of miles long, swimming freely in the northern sea. She dived deep into the depths, then shot straight back up to the surface. In the meantime, the sea parted, stirring up terrifying waves. Here, Dream Pure seemed to be entirely free, as if she was better suited to living in dreams. In the mysterious secret realm, Dream Pure could only create a few people to play and act. However, in the dream, she could imagine limitless depths of the northern dark sea and giant fish whose tails disappeared into the distance. Zhongli sat atop the giant fish that Dream Pure had transformed into, listening to her teaching the dream path. One of the difficulties of the dream path is that those who are dreaming can't tell if they are in a dream. This requires a strong will and judgment. People dreaming can either recall what happened before sleep and recognize that they are dreaming, or deduce that it's a dream based on the unrealistic parts, for all dreams are ultimately false. If dreams were identical to reality, then what need would we have to dream? Dream Pure skipped the conventional steps of learning and pieced together her own understanding of the dream path. Zhongli could tell that some of her ideas were highly innovative. The human emperor, you can try this. Dream Pure felt that her explanations were sufficient and released her control of the dream, allowing Zhongli to express himself freely within the dream. With a flicker of Zhongli's thought, the vast northern ocean started to freeze, centered around him. The speed was remarkable. In the blink of an eye, the ocean turned into an iceberg. Now the Northern Ocean can be called the Northern Ice Ocean. Zhongli felt delighted. Dream Pure didn't know what Northern Ice Ocean was, but she felt like Zhongli just made a joke. A very cold joke. To avoid making Zhongli embarrassed, she was forced to laugh along. The human emperor learned so quickly, mastering this much in just half a month. Dream Pure was amazed. It had taken her 5 days to achieve the same level, yet Zhongli displayed a third of her natural talent in the dream path. From the surface of the ice erupted warrior figures, each clad in transparent armor, towering as tall as the sky, able to grapple with giant fishes. The whole of the Northern Ocean ice had become these ice-clad warriors. Split into 2 groups, they started to fight under Zhongli's command. As the commander of both sides, Zhongli was full of spirit. His decision guaranteed victory for whichever side he wished. But to Dream Pure, it seemed more like a child with 2 toys, waving them in his hands, letting them wrestle each other. The human emperor has mostly mastered dream transformation ability. It's time to proceed to the next phase. Dream Pure collapsed the dream. The Northern Ocean disappeared, the ice-clad warriors disappeared, the giant fish disappeared, and the 2 returned to the mysterious secret realm. Human emperor, you can try to enter other people's dreams. I have taught you the methods before. Zhongli shook his head, chuckling. Dream Pure, don't jest. I am currently still in your dream. How can I enter somebody else's dream? I don't understand what the human emperor means. Could you explain it more clearly? Dream Pure seemed confused and clueless. Zhongli held up his pillow for Dream Pure. Look, there isn't a peach blossom on my pillow. Zhongli's pillow was pure pink, but now there was an extra pink peach blossom on it. Dream Pure's confusion faded, and she smiled. The human emperor is very sharp to notice that this is still a dream. The surroundings blurred, and the 2 returned to the Northern Ocean once more. Dream Pure muttered an incantation. In fact, it has been me within your dream. You truly can now enter other people's dreams now. Good. Zhongli made a small circle in the air with 2 of his fingers, and then entered someone else's dream. Konghu, our meeting is destiny. This is the legacy of the gluttonous beast. The more you eat, the higher your cultivation level. An elderly man with an immortal aura, clear as an ascetic, dressed in a Taoist robe and holding a horsetail whisk, touched Zhong Konghu's forehead according to the legacy of the gluttonous beast. Your bloodline of the witch clan and the ancient gluttonous beast both originated from the unfathomably distant ancient era. There may be some connection between you two. Your cultivation of the gluttonous beast's legacy would be twice as effective with half the effort. The old immortal touched Zhang Konggu's forehead again, and this is the legacy of the dream path. You can cultivate in your dreams. Ponder over it carefully. After speaking, the old man ascended to immortality and vanished. Zhang Konggu wept, kneeling on the ground, bowing in the direction the old man had gone. I will surely not disappoint the old immortal's expectations. From now on, I will only eat and sleep, cultivate diligently, and rush to the immortal realm as soon as possible. Zhang Li and Dream Pure stood by, dumbfounded. This person is, Dream Pure was hesitant. Her true body had died 800 years ago, and she had never seen Zhang Konggu. She didn't know why the first dream Zhang Li chose to enter was this one. Zhang Li introduced him somewhat sheepishly. This is the leader of our palace. His name is Zhang Konggu. His strength is combat, and his specialty is eating and sleeping. I can see that. Chapter 317, Encounter in the Dream. Zhang Li walked up to Zhang Konggu. Konggu, get your wits about you. How could there be a cultivation method in this world that strengthens you by just eating and sleeping? Wit, what wit? Zhang Konggu was unaware that he was dreaming and felt no surprise at Zhang Li's arrival. You need to work hard on your cultivation. There's still plenty of room for you to grow. Your tribal bloodline can still be further developed, and your body refining method has not yet reached its limit. Your current level is still far from my level during the body integration realm. You cannot relax. Zhang Li cautioned Zhang Konggu, urging him to cultivate diligently to become the strongest existence in the body integration realm eventually, living up to his name as the leader of the imperial palace. Zhang Konggu's combat power is among the top 3 in the body integration realm. Still, he is not yet as formidable as Zhang Li, Bai Hongtu, and Yu Yin, who were once at the body integration realm. He can be stronger. You are supposed to be the model for the body integration realm leaders of the imperial palace. How could you be so lazy? Wake up, hard work is the shortcut to becoming stronger. Zhang Konggu has been awoken by Zhang Li, and he realized his mistakes, deciding to repent and reform. Zhang Konggu patted his chest and assured, don't worry, brother Zhang, I will definitely work hard on my cultivation in the future and catch up with your pace. Zhang Li nodded in satisfaction and left for the next dream. Zhang Konggu got up, wake from his dream. Brother Zhang, rest assured, I will definitely work hard on what? Zhang Konggu couldn't remember what Zhang Li had said in his dream. It seems he told me to laze around and have some snacks. Zhang Konggu scratched his head, feeling that these words didn't sound like something Zhang Li would say. Let me ask again. Zhang Konggu went back to sleep, trying to trace back the same way. The old fairy, you're here again. It's rare for mid-high rank cultivators to sleep. Zhang Konggu was an exception. After Zhang Konggu, Zhang Li never again entered the dreams of high-ranking cultivators. He saw some mortals dreaming of having a single spiritual root, no longer stuck in the third layer of qi cultivation, making rapid cultivation advances, and going to big sects to cultivate. He also saw cultivators surrounded by their wives and concubines, scandalously enjoying their day, and a man with 5 women couldn't even piece together a piece of clothing. In simple terms, these were spring dreams. Some cultivators dreamt that as long as they were alive, their cultivation level would increase, and each increase would lengthen their lifespan, forming a positive cycle, continuously becoming stronger without limit. Zhang Li saw this little cultivator becoming unstoppable and went up to test his skills. Unsurprisingly, that little cultivator was unlucky, even getting beaten up in his dream. Zhang Li carefully comforted the little guy, afraid he might develop some psychological trauma. Some students from the Great Zhou Dynasty Family Academy had nightmares, dreaming of teachers assigning one after another subject to them, asking them to complete everything or be denied graduation. The student cried and barely managed to write up all the project reports, only to be mercilessly rejected by the teacher. Unqualified. Rewrite all. That student could only continue to write while crying. Zhang Li recalled his own days at the academy. It was an unbearable past. The teachers cried and claimed they couldn't understand his theories, so he had to repeatedly explain them. It was troublesome, talking until his throat became dry. Zhang Li also encountered a particular cultivator with a bloodthirsty nature, killing people like grass in his dreams, continuously breaking through a few bottlenecks with his cultivation level soaring rapidly. The most crucial point was that this cultivator's blood sacrifice method was proficient, just like a professional's. Zhang Li pondered for a moment, remembered this person, and commanded a leader to investigate whether this man had practiced the demon cultivation path. While killing for cultivation growth could be explained away by bloodthirst, how could one rationalize this blood sacrifice method? Anyone who hadn't seen it before could never imagine it. This person was most likely a demon cultivator. I've truly seen a lot of people. Zhongli sighed, never expecting to encounter so many unique dream worlds. Dream Pure laughed and said, "This is another way of refiners thinking in red dust. I used this method to break through to the body integration realm, it was effective. However, the human emperor probably doesn't need refining the mind. Refining the mind in red dust is for those cultivators who cultivate in seclusion for many years. I've been in red dust since Qi cultivation stage, and it was a natural progression to the body integration realm, so I don't require that step." Dream Pure had heard from others that this generation's human emperor didn't have any special background, and all his resources were earned through his hard work. Such people indeed don't require refining the mind in red dust. "Let's go to the last dream, then we can leave," Dream Pure said. Zhongli nodded, and took a step forward. After Zhongli took a step, the dreamscape abruptly changed. The dream violently expanded and shrunk again, bursting with extreme light and heat so radiant that one might feel it as splendid punishment. Utter annihilation and extreme shattering occurred simultaneously, warping the dream world. The dream, like a sponge, was being arbitrarily kneaded and deformed by an invisible force. The dream seemed to be undergoing some unspeakable change, as if it were crossing a difficult space, arriving at a world that could not be reached. What's happening? Dream Pure was shocked. She had never seen such changes in a dream, not even recorded in ancient books. A terrifying and domineering aura occupied the entire dream, causing the dream to stop changing. "Did you do something?" Dream Pure looked at Zhongli beside her, thinking that he had stabilized the dream. "It's him." Zhongli had a serious look, looking at the man standing not far away. The man's expression was as domineering, arrogant, lawless, and supreme as the aura he exuded. "I had only guessed at first, I didn't expect I could actually find you through the dream." The man calmly spoke, contemptuously looking at Zhongli. "The initial emperor Zhongli." Dream Pure gasped in surprise, revealing the man's identity. She'd never thought she'd actually come across the initial emperor in a dream. Could it be the two people were simultaneously using the dream path, resonating, allowing the two to meet in a dream? Dream Pure secretly guessed, finding this situation too weird to understand. Are dreams gateways to parallel worlds? Or is Zhongli too unique? The initial emperor Zhongli was wearing a robe symbolizing his noble status in black, whereas Zhongli was dressed in white. They seem to be two extremes. My cultivation is unrivaled in this world. Apart from the immortal whom I've never met, no one should be able to escape from my divine sense. I've speculated, could somebody have seen me through the river of time? But that's not right. Although I can't navigate through the river of time, I should be able to feel who's peeping at me. Even the past and present sword, which would have wanted to sneak attack me, I felt. Could it be someone who has mastered the grand space path? That's also not sound. Old Buddha Zumi once spied on me with the space path, and I sensed nothing. If someone spied on me with the space path, I wouldn't be able to feel it. And the old Buddha Zumi perished, and the Brahma Tower was shattered by me. There shouldn't be anyone who can use the space path far exceeding mine. The possibility then is only one, being the dream path, which currently we don't understand the principle of. It appears that is the case today. Should you be my parallel self? Your whole appearance looks lackluster, useless generation. You are not a qualified ruler, you lack the domineering aura of the Lord of the 9 provinces. I will not acknowledge you. The initial emperor looked down on Zhongli, considering his character weak and without a scent of blood and gore. You sure do talk a lot. I only need to say one thing. Zhongli slowly started to speak. What? You're asking for a beating? The initial emperor flew into rage, and both men leapt up, starting a grand battle in the dream. Chapter 318, Tactics that cannot be used in JoJo. Boom. A battle never seen before is happening in the dream world. The sound of fists and feet colliding is like a roaring thunder dragon, thunderously resounding throughout the sky. This dream world was created by the Emperor. It was vast and unbounded, far larger than the 9 provinces world. Though the Emperor had just gained control of the dream world, in terms of familiarity with the dream path, he was no match for Dream Pure. However, his realm was there after all, and the dreamland he constructed surpassed Dream Pure's imagination. The moment Dream Pure saw the Emperor, she couldn't help but tremble, shaking all over. Unlike Zhongli beside her, whose aura was gentle, the pressure the Emperor gave her was too strong. If it were not for Zhongli, who had already told her that the Emperor was his parallel self, Dream Pure would never have connected the two. The emperor didn't deliberately release his power. Yet standing there, he held an awe-inspiring momentum. Could Zhongli win? For the first time, Dream Pure doubted Zhongli's strength. She felt that the emperor was too terrifying and no one could defeat him. Dream Pure received a message from Zhongli, fleeing the battlefield center at great speed. The moment she left, Zhongli's momentum gradually climbed, colliding with the emperor. With Dream Pure's knowledge, she couldn't judge who was stronger. Dream Pure instantly understood that Zhongli had never shown his real strength. He had always been suppressing himself. Only now was Zhongli releasing his true self. Dream Pure fled a great distance, yet the sounds of battle never lessened. It was as if the sounds of the emperor and Zhongli battling had no ends and could travel to the ends of time without fading a single bit. The fists of the emperor and Zhongli clashed, creating aftershocks that spread outwards at an extreme speed. Dream Pure desperately tried to escape, thinking she had flown far enough. However, before she could rest, she was washed away by the spreading shockwaves to an even more distant place. The emperor bled a river, each drop of river forming into a soldier holding a blood-colored long spear. Each soldier's aura was terrifying, far beyond what anyone in the Transcendence Tribulation stage could match. Tens of thousands of soldiers attacked Zhongli. Zhongli used the path of yin and yang he had learned from the fairy of red dust, reversing day and night, confusing black and white, upsetting the order of heaven and earth. The soldiers' spears turned around and surprisingly began to attack the emperor instead. The emperor snorted coldly, retracting the soldiers and leaving behind the blood-colored long spears. The blood-colored long spear was like a sharp arrow, soaring into the sky, aiming at Zhongli. Zhongli stretched out a finger, and the blood-colored long spear turned into mud and dissolved on its own. That the parallel world has such a coward as you makes me very ashamed. The emperor seemed arrogant. As a mighty Mahayana, he was treating a body integration realm remnant soul as an equal, without the least dignity of a stronger party. The face of the Mahayana was completely lost by him. I have never met an opponent in the 9 provinces. I originally thought I could unify the immortal realm after reaching the immortal ladder, yet before that, I have to deal with you, you are nothing. The two of them fought, forming illusions, as though the entire heavens and earth were them. Their moves were too fast, reaching near the speed of light, and the flow of time in the dream world virtually stopped, the surroundings warped, distorted, squeezing into one piece. Blah blah blah, you reached Mahayana thanks to your divine sense, didn't you? As the two used divine sense in their conversation, Zhongli responded indifferently. Taking advantage of the gap where the emperor was transmitting nonsensical words to him through divine sense, he decisively punched, hitting the emperor's lower jaw, causing an impact that crushed several teeth. Good, very good. The emperor, furious, burst into laughter. His teeth grew back quickly. After he became a Mahayana, who dared to insult him like this? The continent of the 9 provinces suddenly appeared under the emperor's feet. Dream Pure, who had struggled to escape from the aftershock, was dumbfounded at this scene. Imagining things in the dream world wasn't that difficult, but the problem was that the 9 provinces imagined by the emperor were too perfect, as if they were a replica of the real 9 provinces continuous continent. This must be a great power of divine sense. No, it wasn't just the 9 provinces continuous continent. The starry sky, the boundless black hole, as well as the universe beyond the mainland, were all imagined by the emperor. The entire 9 provinces world appeared in the dream world. Yet, even if it was the entire 9 provinces world, it still couldn't reach the edge of the dream world. Destroy. The emperor suddenly clenched his right hand, and the 9 provinces world rapidly shrank, using the entire world's mass to crush Zhongli. The temperature drops to absolute zero, where all matter ceases to move. Extinction grand chill. Dream Pure changed color upon recognizing it. In ancient tales, this was a path of frightening doom that a world would walk upon, an irreversible state of hopelessness. The 9 provinces world was pinched into a grain of sand by the first emperor. Zhongli was within it, no trace of him to be found. The dream world is my territory, you dare to challenge me? The first emperor scoffed, as if he had won a total victory. Suddenly, he discovered that the grain of sand in his hand was out of control. It was shrinking again, turning into a point that could not even be found with divine senses. As if the grain of sand was transformed into the theoretical point. The first emperor finally located the grain of sand. It was violently trembling and then drastically expanded. Temperature, density, and space-time curvature dropped from an infinite value to a calculatable amount. Space and time were born here, and primary substances appeared from the singularity and transformed into primitive stars. Zhongli leisurely walked out of the singularity explosion. Behind him spread countless dust from the primary substances, as if he was the first living being created by the opening of the heavens and earth. Dare to use dream objects against me? I can't even imagine an existence stronger than myself. Do you think you can? Just the beginning and end of a world. Who doesn't know how to create or destroy it? Zhongli mocked the first emperor's lack of insight. A singularity invisible to the naked eye materialized in his hand. He landed a heavy punch on the first emperor's face with it. A singularity is the beginning of a world. Its weight is equivalent to the weight of a world. It was as if the absolute weight of an entire world was smashing onto the first emperor's face. The singularity exploded on the first emperor's face. It had not fully turned into a world before it was pinched by Zhongli back into a singularity, exploded again, and turned back into a singularity. The explosions of the singularity were extremely quick. If measured in seconds, there were hundreds of zeros before the second. In the span of a breath, the first emperor received countless singularity explosions and births. How is this possible? Dream Pure was dumbfounded watching. Even from a great distance, she could perceive the surging killing intent from the battlefield. She could not understand Zhongli's methods. The first emperor could imagine the 9 provinces world and the singularity because he controlled the dream world. But Zhongli also could not control the dream world. How did he create the singularity? Unless this is his own ability. World building with one hand had the same extension as the extreme dream path, transforming dreams into reality, turning reality into dreams. This method could not be used in the 9 provinces world. The slightest mistake could lead to mutual destruction between the singularity and the 9 provinces world. But in the dream world, especially the first emperor's dream world, Zhongli could use this method without restraint. Dream Pure suddenly remembered that when Zhongli first entered the dream world, he remarked that he cannot imagine an existence stronger than himself. At that time, Dream Pure thought Zhongli was boasting, but now it seems he was just stating a fact. My imperial majesty must not be violated. The first emperor was enraged. His face had taken a severe hit. The primary substances were still on his face, preventing him from healing his injury. The wounds didn't affect his fighting ability, but they were a symbol of humiliation. He was actually at a disadvantage against his parallel world self, who had no royal demeanor. Unacceptable, unacceptable, unacceptable. The first emperor extended his right hand, and the sky desolate halberd appeared in it. If Zhongli were asked which existence was stronger than his bare hand, it could only be himself wielding the sky desolate halberd. The first emperor gave the same answer. Other than the time he smashed the yin-yang heaven seal and other immortal artifacts, he had not used this weapon in a long time. The first emperor couldn't accept it. He had to admit, Zhongli was beyond his imagination and strength. If he wanted to truly defeat him, he could only use the sky desolate halberd. Luckily, this was his dream world, and the opponent could not create the sky desolate halberd. Chapter 319, Supreme Ruler and Supreme Honor of the 9 Provinces. Without a weapon, how are you going to fight me? The boastful emperor who held the sky desolate halberd returned to his previous unruly self. Do I still need a weapon to fight you? Zhongli shook his head lightly, thinking that the emperor was overvaluing himself. He used the halberd to fight against numerous immortal artifacts because he wasn't certain about the abilities of the yin-yang heaven seal and others after they had gained intelligence. At the same time, during his previous battle with the emperor, he had already forced the emperor's limit to reveal his full abilities. Zhongli didn't even need the sky desolate halberd to know how strong the emperor was. You speak insolently. The emperor thought that Zhongli was merely bluffing. Their combat abilities were similar. How could he possibly defeat him when he held a weapon? The emperor swung the halberd while Zhongli used his fists to meet the attack, creating showering sparks like metal clashing. Astonishingly, it was the emperor's side that was suppressed. His hands trembled, numbed from the clash. Zhongli continued to throw punches, causing the emperor to lose his grip on the sky desolate halberd and step back repeatedly. Watching Zhongli's overwhelming attack, fear began to rise inside the emperor for the first time. This insignificant trace of fear prevented him from maintaining his composure and arrogant demeanor. The emperor saw, to his disbelief, a dent appearing on the indestructible sky desolate halberd under Zhongli's punches. In reality, the sky desolate halberd is indestructible, and this level of attack should not be able to break it. However, this wasn't the real sky desolate halberd after all, but a replicated one. The emperor thought of the halberd as solid, so it was solid. If he had doubts about it, the sky desolate halberd would lose its attribute of indestructibility. Being beaten by Zhongli made the emperor question his life. Why couldn't he win against this seemingly harmless and easy to bully person? Zhongli didn't care about what the emperor was thinking. He concentrated all his strength into a punch, breaking the sky-desolate halberd with a crack. It could no longer protect the emperor. The emperor received a solid punch in his chest. Blood spat out from his mouth, his internal organs shattered by the impact. The emperor steadied himself and directed his attention towards Dream Pure, who was watching the fight from a distance. Attempting to attack her, he raised his arm but found himself unable to bring it down no matter how much he tried. Is this the emperor? If you can't beat me, you will attack the audience, won't you? Zhongli sneered, crushing the emperor's right elbow with one squeeze. Very quickly, the emperor recovered his body and hastily retreated while gasping for breath. The emperor was embarrassed. He was ashamed that his first response upon seeing Zhongli was to retreat. 5 Thunder Orthodox Techniques. Zhongli gently recited the name of the divine skill, summoning thunder tribulation that was even stronger than the one summoned during his 15th time of achieving immortality, opening a crack in the dream realm. Zhongli's Dao training, which was not weaker than his tough physique, was something he simply found bothersome to use ordinarily. As for the 5 Thunder Orthodox sect who once ambushed Yu Yin, the 5 Thunder Orthodox techniques they exhibited weren't even worthy to touch Zhongli's shoes. The emperor was exterminated in the attack. Black smoke exhaled from his mouth, his black clothes were ripped to shreds due to the tribulation. He was unable to withstand it, let alone protect his clothes. Zhongli showed the emperor no mercy. He continuously executed the 5 Thunder Orthodox techniques and summoned purple heavenly thunders which were continuously slammed onto the emperor, leaving him with bloody wounds that were hard to heal. The purple thunder damaged his soul and it was so painful that the emperor gnashed his teeth. Back in reality, the emperor's body kept twitching, his expression twisted as if he was enduring some extreme torture. Are you okay? Zhongli twisted his head to ask Dream Pure. Dream Pure was still in shock and covered her chest with her hand, shaking her head. I'm okay, you just startled me. Upon seeing this, the emperor felt even more wronged about his defeat. As the strongest beings, not even heavenly immortals are our opponents. What in the world can still restrict us? Be it morality or laws, they are all made for the weak. As a mighty Mahayana entity, treating the weak courteously, you, who lack the aura of a strong person, why are you stronger than me? Are you born a strong one? Have you ever been weak? Zhongli asked back. What's the reason you became strong? Is it to prevent being bullied by the strong, or to bully the weak? The emperor was silent for a moment before he spoke. Your background should be somewhat similar to mine. During the chi cultivation stage, we were at the very bottom and being bullied by everyone. That was the time when I thought, once I become the strongest, no one could bully me anymore. Dream Pure sighed quietly. The emperor's thoughts were no different from most people. They didn't hate the strong, they hated the fact that they weren't strong themselves. Zhongli nodded. Indeed, I was once bullied because the others were stronger than me, and I had no other choice. So, the emperor thought that Zhongli had similar ideas to him. However, Zhongli added, at that time, I thought, if one day I become the strongest, I must be a role model, to regulate the behavior of other strong people and to prevent them from bullying the weak. The emperor was silent once again. He didn't know if Zhongli was normal or he was the one who had strange thoughts. Their thoughts differed too much, one of them must be abnormal. How long has it been since you last practiced? Zhongli asked suddenly. Although their thoughts differed, he didn't expect their abilities to diverge so much. 100 years, replied the emperor, feeling ashamed. After becoming a Mahayana entity, he was invincible in the world, even the heavenly demons from outside the territory were not his equal. As time passed, he gradually slowed his progress in cultivation. And in these 100 years, he had hardly practiced at all. With this level of cultivation, you still have the nerve to call yourself the emperor. Zhongli sneered. Even if his concurrent self came from a parallel world, even if they were both Mahayana entities, their experiences were different which resulted in a difference in their cultivations. My achievements surpass all other human emperors. I am the ruler of all 9 provinces, is it wrong to call myself the emperor? Who are you to judge? The emperor became angry when Zhongli mocked his self-appointed title and retorted. Zhongli replied casually, I am the human emperor, respected by all the 9 provinces. Just as the emperor wanted to reply, he heard a creaking sound. The crack in the dream realm caused by the 5 Thunder Orthodox techniques began to spread, extending to the entire dream realm. Creak. The dream realm broke apart. Zhongli and Dream Pure returned to the mysterious secret realm. The emperor returned to his own 9 provinces. Your Majesty, about the matter of the 9 provinces immortal dynasty, the General Li humbly appeared in front of the emperor. What immortal dynasty? Don't disturb me while I'm cultivating. The emperor returned from the dream realm and recalled his own humiliating defeat, causing him great shame. He had to practice intensely. If I do not avenge this humiliation, I'm not Zhongli. Who would have thought that we could really travel to a parallel world, even if it's just a dream realm? Dream Pure was still immersed in the experience which her real body had never encountered before. Perhaps Zhongli and she were the only two people who had been to the parallel world. Senior Dream Pure, it appears that your soul has become whole again. Zhongli was shocked. Initially, Dream Pure was just an intelligent remnant thought, not even a fragmentary soul. According to his calculations, it would take at least 200 years for her to form a soul. Could it be because we visited the parallel world, which accelerated the formation of your soul? Zhongli speculated. No one had ever been to a parallel world before, so everything was unknown. No matter what, it's good news. I will help you resurrect. Zhongli had originally promised to protect Dream Pure's Tao in 200 years, but he didn't expect it to happen much earlier. I appreciate it, Human Emperor. Dream Pure bowed her thanks. Dream Pure was delighted to learn that she had formed a soul. Who would want to stay in the mysterious secret realm forever and entertain herself, especially now when the 9 provinces had changed drastically from 800 years ago? Chapter 320, Dream Pure Rebirth. The spirit of Dream Pure was formed based on the remnants of a powerful soul in the body integration realm, and after an inexplicable journey through parallel worlds, her soul was already at the body integration realm level from the day of her birth, making it extremely powerful. If she was to find an appropriate physical body to merge with, she would be a true cultivator at the peak of the body integration realm. The ideal body for body integration would be one that has just died, its body not yet cold, and according to Dream Pure's preference, one that is at least 80% similar to her own appearance. After all, Dream Pure's beauty was well known 800 years ago. Surprisingly, there was no suitable body among all of Kyushu. However, there are some useful things in my storage ring. I can use them to refine a complete body. Zhongli took a series of things out of his storage ring. Tai Sui, Tianhe body shaping grass, summer wood winter, 5-color lotus root. Each of these heavenly treasures was incredibly valuable and could all serve as showstoppers at an auction. Of course, adding the prefixes, owned by the Human Emperor Zhong, or, same style as that of Human Emperor Zhong, would inflate their prices even further. Gigi once told Zhongli that there was an auction where the spiritual energy that the Human Emperor Zhong once absorbed was sold, but it was fined by the Great Zhou for false advertising. For merchants, Zhongli's reputation is an inexhaustible money tree. Any association with him could support an entire family. However, Dream Pure didn't know the value of these, owned by Zhong, the Human Emperor, items. She just thought they were rare heavenly treasures. Even if Dream Pure from 800 years ago, who was proficient in the dream path, were to collect them, she would not be able to gather all of them. These are too precious, Dream Pure demurred, feeling that teaching Zhongli some knowledge of the dream path was not enough to deserve these heavenly treasures. Not to mention that he also saved her from the early emperor. They're all gifts, didn't cost me anything. Zhongli picked up Tai Sui that was 8,000 years old. This was gifted to me by the Sky Mechanism Tower on the 300th anniversary of my coronation. This was given by the Lubin sect during the New Year. This was gifted by the Beast Control sect on my 463rd birthday. This was sent by the Great Wei dynasty under the guise of celebrating my 230-and-a-quarter-year reign anniversary. Did the Great Wei dynasty force this gift on you? Dream Pure felt that the excuse from the Great Wei dynasty was far-fetched. They're offering, why refuse? That counts as taking bribes. Dream Pure teased, not understanding why Zhongli would accept these things. Zhongli laughed. I just take the money without providing any service, that's not taking bribes. If they want to give it, it's their business. I certainly won't refuse their goodwill. Zhongli didn't elaborate on why the Great Wei dynasty gave him the precious 5-color lotus earlier and instead took over Dream Pure's cultivation technique, Big Dream Thousands of Autumns. This technique directly points to the heavenly immortal, undoubtedly an immortal level cultivation technique. It's a good cultivation technique, no need to change it. Zhongli flipped through it in high praises for the Big Dream Thousands of Autumns. Zhongli patiently studied this profound cultivation technique and memorized it in a few minutes. He calculated how to become an immortal with this cultivation technique under conditions of immortal power, and constructed a body best suited for Dream Pure's cultivation based on this blueprint. Refining a body is different from refining artifacts, it doesn't require high skills, Zhongli can do it himself. Tai Sui, Tianhe body shaping grass, summer wood winter, 5-color lotus root, and other treasures were forcibly melted under Zhongli's formidable cultivation base, skipping many steps in the process. Dream Pure watched as her body was created in front of her eyes. It felt very strange. She suddenly had a thought: if Zhongli is refining her body, won't her body be fully exposed to him? She was just about to voice her objections when she realized that Zhongli's speed of refining the body was faster than her speaking. The various materials were merging and already taking human form. It feels like something is missing. Zhongli realized the same problem and took out from his storage ring. Oh, there were no women's clothing in the storage ring. The system store came in handy once again. Zhongli bought a set of women's cultivator clothing, and put them on the gradually forming body of Dream Pure. Dream Pure looked at Zhongli strangely. She thought the clothes were taken out from his storage ring. Fortunately, this was just a minor hiccup. Zhongli finally completed Dream Pure's body successfully and even added a set of clothes. Dream Pure circled her new body a few times and was very satisfied. She transformed into a stream of light and merged with her body. She tried moving her limbs and found no awkwardness, as if this was her original body. Moreover, Zhongli was able to shape the body's meridians to suit the circulation of the Big Dream's thousands of atoms, making Dream Pure even more powerful than she was 800 years ago. In terms of body strength alone, it doesn't lose to Zhang Konggu. Zhongli also boosted the body strength. Konggu was nearing peak levels of body cultivation. However, if it came to a real fight, Zhang Konggu had extensive experience in close-quarters combat, and Dream Pure would still be at a disadvantage in hand-to-hand combat. Dream Pure didn't plan on fighting hand-to-hand anyway. It didn't fit her personality. She preferred to have her enemies obediently fall into deep sleep, at her mercy. Don't hurry, you still need 49 days to thoroughly merge with your body. Zhongli saw that Dream Pure, who had just obtained a body, wanted to try more spells and persuaded her to stop. This is what Zhongli had previously told Dream Pure about protecting her cultivation progression. Alright, I'm not in a rush. Dream Pure managed to suppress her eager heart and forced herself to sit down. She was finally no longer pretending to sit while actually doing a horse stance. Not sitting on a chair, but cross-legged on the ground. Zhongli kindly reminded her. He had never seen anyone meditate while seated on a chair. Oh, Dream Pure blushed in embarrassment. She was indeed too impatient. Finally, Dream Pure calmed down and slowly began to feel the wonders of her new body. The meridians, acupoints, physical body, spirit platform, everything fit her perfectly. Even the speed of spiritual energy circulation was 20% faster than her past self 800 years ago. Strictly speaking, she is only the remnant thoughts of the sage of the big dreams from 800 years ago, not the true sage of the big dreams. Her personality also has subtle differences from that of the big dream sage, and now that she has a new spirit, she has further distinguished herself from the sage of the big dreams. But she still wanted to compare herself with the sage of the big dreams. After all, her memories came from the sage of the big dreams. The 49 days passed in a flash, and Dream Pure opened her eyes, full of vivacity. She stepped out of the mysterious secret realm, and looked up to see the dark clouds accumulated above her. Advancing directly to the body integration realm, this was a test from the heavens. Zhongli stood by, not interfering with Dream Pure's heavenly tribulation. This was not only a trial but also an opportunity. Only by passing this heavenly tribulation could she be considered truly reborn. If she fails to pass, then he would have to step in. But Zhongli had confidence in the body he refined, and also in Dream Pure. This sort of heavenly tribulation posed no threat. Instead, it seemed more like the heavens were celebrating the birth of a new soul. The thunder was deafening, illuminating the mountains. The tribulation fell on Dream Pure, and she withstood it with her pure body. Before, she could control her body as one would control a puppet on strings, able to move her body around, but her eyes were dull. But now, she had complete control of her body, as if the sage of the big dreams from 800 years ago, who captivated Kyushu with her stunning beauty and unparalleled charm, was reborn, radiating endless allure. The tribulation dissipated, and Dream Pure was born anew.